I'm Alan Partridge, and my hit podcast from the Oast House is set to return. And just like the first series, I guarantee it will be free from natter, waffle, drivel, balderdash, dithering, ignorance, meditation or ranting. Warning, some of my unsubstantiated opinions may be presented as fact.
An Audible original from the Oast House, the Alan Partridge Podcast Series 2. Listen now. Subscription required. See audible.co.uk for terms.
Clyde One's Super Scoreboard Podcast with Taggart's Land Rover, part of the Lookers family. Great deals on new and approved used Land Rovers. Search online.
We'll be coming back for you one day.
This is Celtic versus RB Leipzig.
That could be the goal that gives Celtic 3 points.
This is Clyde One's Super Scoreboard.
It's almost showtime at Celtic Park. Andrew McLean is there for us.
Yeah, we've just had a rendition of You'll Never Walk Alone here at Celtic Park. All the scarves are up. German media counterparts that were here as well. I had their phones out filming it as well. The disco lights on the go as well. A packed out crowd. The Leipzig fans are making themselves heard here too, and we should be in for a really good night of football as we wait for the teams to come out the tunnel here at Celtic Park. I'll bring you those teams again. It's going to be Joe Hart starting in goal for Celtic. The back four: Josip Juranovic, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Moritz Jens and Greg Taylor. The midfield three: Matt O'Reilly, Reo Hatate and Sead Haksabanovic. The front three: Leila Bada, Dyson Maida and Kyogo leading the line for Celtic tonight. Ange Postecoglou's options from the bench: Bain, Siegrist, Ralston, Welsh, Bernabe, Abelgard, Moy, McCarthy, Turnbull, Robertson, Forrest and Giacomakis. The Leipzig team: Janis Blaskovic starting in goal. At right back, Mohamed Simakan, who impressed in Leipzig's 3-1 win over Celtic last week. Willie Orban at centre back alongside Josko Gvardiol, and David Raum is the left back. The two holding midfielders: Amadou Hedara, Javor Slager, and the three in behind the striker: Dominic Szoboszlai, Christopher Nkunku and Timo Werner. The striker for RB Leipzig as the teams make their way out the tunnel to a wall of noise here at Celtic Park. It's Andre Silva starting up front for Celtic. And you know, you look at where Celtic have been so far in these Champions League group stages. It's been a long journey for them to get back here. It's been a long time. Ange Postecoglou has talked about progression and building to make sure they can try and compete at this level. And you know, Celtic put on a really good show against Real Madrid here, and you think that's got to be the blueprint. They took the game to them, but ultimately it was Real Madrid. They were playing and their quality shone through in the end, but there was definitely positives to take from that game. Then it was a frustrating night for them in Poland against Shakhtar because they had more of the ball, they created more of the chances as well. It really felt like a game Celtic could have and maybe should have won, and just imagine how different the group would be looking now if Celtic had gone on to get all 3 points in that game. As for last week, Celtic did squander chances, but Leipzig, they have so much quality in that final third. They caused Celtic problems, they created a lot, and they had the quality on the night to put the chances away. They deserved their win in the end. So there has been positives, but to be at this stage, the halfway point of the Champions League group, and to only have 1 point, it's now a bit of a scramble to pick up the required points. Celtic will feel like 3 points are vital tonight, and as I mentioned earlier, there is a scenario tonight that would see Celtic not be able to finish in that top two after tonight, because if they lose here against RB Leipzig tonight, and if Shakhtar Donetsk manage to somehow get something against Real Madrid, which would be a really big ask. You wouldn't expect that at all, but if results went that way, slightly easier permutations than the one in the Scotland women's game tonight, but if that happens, Celtic wouldn't be able to finish in second place. But a win and they'll be right back in the mix as well. The bonus as well, this is a home game. You've been able to hear the noise around me. They play Shakhtar at home too next, and they'll hope that they can produce something special on these nights in front of their own players. Matt O'Reilly, he was speaking at his pre-match media duties yesterday, and he talked about how against Real Madrid he felt as if he could have ran an extra couple of kilometres just with the sheer noise and the passion of the fans pushing them on. He was saying that, you know, the noise, even when Celtic were winning throw-ins against Real Madrid, he was saying it was completely unbelievable, and it really drove the team on. So, that's what Celtic will be trying to do. They'll be trying to make that count tonight. But I'll hand back to you in the studio now, because we will observe a minute's silence in memory of the 10 people who tragically lost their lives in an explosion at a petrol station in County Donegal on Friday.
It's almost showtime then at Celtic Park. Just a moment of silence before we do get underway. In the Premiership game tonight, Dundee United have taken the lead against Hibs, so they are good. A spell continues. It's 2-2 for Behic, and it is a wonderful goal. Cuts in off the left hand side, some brilliant footwork, and then dispatches the finish. Does he go, I think, outside of the boot, according to Dave Galloway, into the bottom corner, leaving the Hibs goalkeeper with no chance. And just over 12 minutes gone, it is Dundee United 1, Hibs 0. A great start to that one. Let's get it underway. What a build up it's been. You heard the noise coming out of Celtic Park, and it is almost time to get this match underway. The Super Scoreboard podcast is sponsored by Taggart's Motor Group. Taggart's have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. And as Taggart's are part of the Lookers family, one of the largest franchise dealer groups in the UK, you can browse thousands of nearly new and used vehicles in stock nationwide to find your perfect vehicle. They've also launched Click and Sell. It makes selling your car simple by using their trusted dealer network of over 150 sites. Why not give it a go today? See how much you could make on your old car. Taggart's have Land Rover showrooms in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showrooms found in Hillington. Check out taggarts.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Compare car insurance with mustard.co.uk. With the cheapest online price guarantee, why go anywhere else? T's and C's apply. Details online. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Super Scoreboard European football coverage with MoyerandSweeney.com. The top team for your defence.
Come on then, you two. How's this one going to end? We said earlier that this is the one. This can make or break Celtic's Champions League hopes, and it can have knock-on effects even for chances of finishing third and getting into the Europa League. So how's it going to go?
I'll go for Celtic 2, Leipzig 2.
Okay, Gordon DL.
Can't believe it. That's the exact same score I was going there. Sorry.
None of you fancy Celtic to win. Okay, we'll find out. It's not often you two agree.
3-2 Celtic then.
No, don't change your mind because he's done it.
Be your own man.
Okay, I'm going 3-2 Celtic. There you go.
Celtic.
There we are. Okay. So high scoring either way then. We will find out. Celtic fans, strap yourselves in. It's going to be an interesting evening either way. You can stay in touch, by the way, if you want to phone during the game. That is absolutely fine. 0141 951 1025. But if you can't quite bring yourself to do so, and you can't phone whilst you're looking through the cracks in your fingers, definitely half time and absolutely full time. We're expecting to hear from you. We've kept these shows on until 11 o'clock so that we can share it with you, so we can be a part of it and try and feel how you're feeling. So pick up that phone at half time or at full time, and if you want to, as the game progresses, get in touch and let the guys know. We've seen it so many different times, Mark, and we always talk about, a fast start, but in reality you can score first and then lose a goal quickly, much like Celtic did against Shakhtar Donetsk, if I'm not mistaken. And then the game over in Leipzig, it swung in different moments, and Celtic started the second half well, but then got caught out very quickly. So I suppose there are different ways you need to try and manage the game.
Well, of course you do at this level, but the way the two teams are set up and the amount of attacking players on this pitch, you can't see it being anything other than a fast start from both sides. Years gone by, we've seen teams come to Celtic Park and sit in and play counter-attack football. We've seen Celtic do similar. I've played in some teams that are more defensive minded and waited for a chance, but these two sides don't subscribe to any of that. I think they'll just go at each other, and that's why I think it'll be a high scoring game. Plenty of chances. And it's, I suppose, what Champions League football is all about, what they want the brand to be. These two teams certainly match up to that.
Big chance for Celtic early on, a really big chance, and it's the guy that everyone's whinging about not quite being very clinical at the moment. It's Dalziel Maida. It's great play from Haksabanovic and Abada down the right. The cross is in. Maida's on the 6-yard line. I wonder if he just arrives a little bit early.
He does, Gordon. There's no doubt in my mind he arrives just a little bit, a fraction early. Great play with Celtic down the right hand side. Mark's talking about that quick start. There it's there.
It's a very good start from Celtic.
What an opening that would be.
Yeah, brilliant play. Just what I was saying about Abada, he's there to stretch teams to get in behind, and he does get in behind, but he has to deliver. It's a great ball, but like you say, Maeda's just ahead of it. That's encouraging. You know, a minute in, Leipzig know that look, this is going to be tough tonight. Celtic will press them high up the pitch, but again, they have got the quality in midfield. One round the corner and you're split up, so it's going to be a fascinating encounter.
Portugal have scored early in extra time against Iceland, so that's good, but really it needs to kind of stay like that for Scotland. A 2-1 win for Portugal is fine, because then Scotland just need to match that. You really don't want them running away against the 10 men here, but I suppose Scotland could win it in the 90 minutes as well. It would be crazy to try and put some sort of negative slant on Celtic creating chances early on, Gordon. So that's not where I'm going. However, I wonder if the Celtic fans are just a little bit anxious about not taking the chances. I'm not going to criticise yet, 2 minutes into the game, for goodness sake. But Celtic have started every Champions League game brightly, and they've created chances early in every Champions League game. So that's good, that's a positive, but something there's an additional bit that needs to come tonight. Yeah,
I thought, like you, Gordon, that's a positive, because they were on the front foot. They opened them up down the right hand side. It's a great ball in. I don't blame him. I just think he's made the run. The ball's behind him. It's a very difficult header, but it gives everybody a lift. I wouldn't put that down to, oh, you've got to take that chance. Certainly if he times his run, he's onto that, there's no doubt. But unfortunately for Celtic, but this is one of those games that, as I say, Celtic will press high up, but they've got to do it together, because this team will cut you open if you don't. They'll play around you. But I think that Postecoglou will be delighted with a quick start.
Looking forward to seeing Haksabanovic tonight.
Did well to carve out that chance, didn't he?
Yeah, we've seen him wee bits of him. Then we've seen him at St Johnstone. I thought he played well at the weekend against St Johnstone, but this is the stage that he comes to the club for, to play nights like this, and right away you can see the vision. He's always looking forward, so he'll be an interesting watch tonight. I believe he's a right good player. Looks like he's fitted in well to this Celtic side, but it just looks a great occasion. See, when you just look at the opening of that game and the lights and everything coming together, the atmosphere, it's set up for an absolute belter.
That's an experienced team right away. You can see that they're trying to slow the pace of the game down. They're trying to take touches at the back and just slow everything down, because Celtic are anxious to get at them. The crowd will be excited. The opening chance, Celtic pressing high, so they're just trying to take the sting out the opening minutes.
They're confident though. I mean, football is so different, Gordon. I've said it before, even when I played in this competition, because they now play across our goal line. That just wasn't a thing when I played. I mean, you still had teams who would knock it about the back, but they would never take chances, and what they're looking to do is entice Celtic onto them so they can just play through them.
And I must say, this is an unbelievable passage of play from RB Leipzig. The cross comes in, Juranovic heads it behind for a corner. Celtic pressed and pressed and pressed, and Leipzig just kept finding solutions, just moved it round, switched the play, went from one side to the other, then a cross in. That's how you deal with a press, Gordon. That was unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying, Gordon. When you go in the press, everybody's got to be switched on, because if you leave that just one player, they'll just play around you and they'll take you out the game. I'm looking at this early on. I think I can remember him in the last game. The fullback, I think, is terrific.
Yeah,
and I think
Maeda's going to have to really match him, isn't he?
I think he's in the team for that job as well, to track back.
But I mean, Mark, it kind of takes two teams to tango. Just because Leipzig are getting out doesn't mean Celtic's press is bad. It didn't look like Celtic were doing that much wrong, but Leipzig were just finding ways round them. And Leipzig have got a free kick in a dangerous crossing position. Celtic can't believe that it's been given. And I have to say, what has Matt O'Reilly done wrong there, Mark?
I thought Matt O'Reilly got the ball there. He clearly touched the ball first. He went to ground. Simican then falls over O'Reilly. There's contact after the ball's won, so I don't think he's done much wrong there. But Celtic have to defend this well, and you're right, their press wasn't wrong, but you're coming up against players who are comfortable in possession and can knock the ball around you. But this will be a test 6 minutes in.
What I did pick up, Mark, watching the teams come out in the tunnel, they've got a decent bit of height, Leipzig. They've got a decent height in there. If they put quality in, Celtic will need to defend this, need to be strong.
Yeah, early set piece then for Leipzig. They've had a corner already. This one's a free kick. Maeda heads it off the Leipzig attacker, and out it goes for a goal kick. Celtic, as always, look to play fast, but let's see how they cope with playing out from the back. Referee wants it to be taken
come on,
again.
ref. I mean, stop the play for that. If he's going to do that, he's going to do that all the time with Joe Hart, because it's such a feature of Postecoglou, the way he wants to play. Hatate does brilliant there. He's a player in form just now. I mean, even St Johnstone at the weekend in the first half, getting the ball in tight positions, opening up. He's so talented at it.
Yeah, just gives it away.
He's having a bad night, this guy.
You know, it was like another one that went viral where he opened his body up from the throw-in against Madrid and tried to volley it across the pitch. It was similar from the other side, but he just didn't get the purchase on it. Gives it to Leipzig, and now they're in an attacking area. They look bang up for this as well, and it's somehow, I think that actually must go down as brilliant defending from Greg Taylor.
I think so. I think Greg Taylor gets inside. Is it Silva? At the back post there. It's a terrific cross in. I don't know how he's managed to get inside him there, because it looked for an instant that Silva was just going to knock that in.
Oh, it's really good defending from Taylor. It goes down the left, so it's that, you know, kind of dangerous cross. And I mean, maybe Silva would think he could do better, but Greg Taylor does well. Then you've got to feel for Haksabanovic. He comes up the pitch, shows great footwork, spins away, then drops the shoulder, goes to just clip one up the line and just shanks it straight out of play.
Yeah, we've all been there. But I'll tell you, I go back to the Greg Taylor thing. That ball could end up in the back of the net easily. I thought that was brilliant defending from him. I really did. He got himself in there, because if he doesn't, it's a clear goal, there's no doubt. I'll tell you, that's what I'm saying about this game. Is standing here as a neutral watching a game of football, they know that Celtic will just open up. They're going for it as well.
They already look very, very good, Mark. And again, we probably will argue more. Are Celtic too open? Fine, but they look lively.
I mean, take that away from it. If Celtic did play defensively, if they did play 5 across this team's still good in possession. So, you know, the argument earlier on, I get it in that respect. But these are good players. I mean, Kunku, Davides, is he agreed now to go to Chelsea in the summer? There was reports that he might have done. Timo Werner, I mean, how many German caps he got? So he got like 50 odds, and alright, it was a failure at Chelsea, you'd suppose. But for this side, in his previous spell, unbelievable player. And Silva showed how dangerous he is last week. So
yeah, well, Silva's getting over 50 Portugal caps, and Werner's got 55.
Yeah.
Werner scores 1 in every 2 games for Germany.
Oh, for Germany?
For Germany.
Hey, we've got one in here between us. Don't you worry about that. Don't be fooled with these guys. But where I think this will help Celtic tonight, this team look like they're going to go in the front foot as well. Celtic, if they can get the ball and make those correct passes with the pace that they've got, the energy players have got, they can hurt Leipzig. There's no doubt. Because they're going to come at Celtic. They fancy this game tonight for a few goals, and I think sometimes that suits Celtic.
Which may well be the case, Mark. The only slight concern might be we're now 10 minutes in, so that very early flurry from Celtic, since then it's really been all about Leipzig.
Well, they just can't get the ball. Celtic can't get the ball off Leipzig. You know, even when it goes back to the goalkeeper, he's comfortable, he plays out at the back, and they're finding it difficult at the minute to get close. But look, there's no harm in that. If Leipzig aren't cutting you open, fine, but you just don't want to give them too much possession, because we just rhymed off the quality players who will punish you in an instant. But Celtic could do a wee spell just on the ball, like they're so good at, and Riley actually does well there, just knocks it round the corner. I think that's where he has a bonus, Gordon, playing that position, because Callum McGregor is so used to it. If you put in a McCarthy, a Moy, an Abelgard, is he as comfortable as a Riley on the ball? No way. And that's where maybe Ange Postecoglou has looked at it as a trade-off, us in possession versus a defensive side. Then he's obviously valued Celtic
possession. I think you're
possession.
slowly but surely coming round to this setup the longer the show goes on.
You know what? I'll tell you at 90 minutes when I see the score. Right?
If
Celtic win 3-0, I will get Frank on and say, you know, spot on. You know, there you go.
I've got this mad suggestion right now, bear with me. It might actually be the case that the result either way might not be solely down to Celtic's midfield. There we go. But we'll make a more calculated assessment. Leipzig just knocking it about for fun. Even when the ball was fizzed in at the edge of the box, rather than taking a touch, it was a first touch pass through to Nkunku. Celtic still pressing, still getting themselves in good areas, force a throw in, and Abada just looking to take it, but the reality it's not able to be done quite as quickly this time for Celtic.
Were you any good at that, Daz? As a striker? No. When it's wrapped into you, your first touch pass.
My first touch was delightful.
Was it?
Yeah, brilliant. I had a great first touch. I say that myself. You know, I've got to back my own ability, but I like that. I used to say to midfield players, wrap it into me, and then make a run. You ain't going to get it, but make a run. It looks good. I think that Postecoglou, they've knocked the ball about. I think Postecoglou will be okay with this. I think he'll be quite happy. The one thing I will say is,
what will he be happy about?
I think the game's settled in. It's fine. Look, they've knocked the ball about. They've had better possession. They've not had a shot at goals or anything like that. It's not like they're cutting Celtic open. I think Celtic are pressing well. But Kyogo is a big game for him tonight. He's got to get, see, when he gets the ball, he's got to hold the ball up and get people into the game. I know it's not really, he likes to play on the shoulder, but he's got to try and get the ball. I tell you what, that could be a dangerous situation tonight. That diagonal
to the head
ball
of Greg Taylor. He does well though, draws a foul.
Brilliant.
Simican for a right back. I mean, he's
big old unit.
But he's playing in Celtic 18-yard box. You know, there's no like building it up and getting there late. He's actually standing on Greg Taylor and waiting for that ball to come in. It just shows how adventurous they are.
Take Gordon's point that, 13 minutes in, Leipzig haven't had any clear chances. Mark, it's goalless. Celtic are doing fine, so I get that, but it's also not been the, for any fans who called in and were looking for Celtic to really set that tone, or maybe they're about to, because here comes Maeda in the box. It's not a great ball, but it falls to the edge of the box. Haksabanovic, I thought he was going to go down, and it's still kept alive, but it just breaks down at the last minute.
That's much better. I mean, that's why Maeda's in the team. He stretches them. The quality maybe not at the end, but
right, here comes Abada again. Can he find another ball into the box? That's a bit easy for Leipzig to deal with. Better from Celtic though, much better.
Yeah. I was going to ask Mark if he had them down, but that was a silly question after.
I would have felt contact there.
No, I was talking about when you were crossing it.
Is Haksabanovic's touch at the edge of the box let him down?
Yeah, I think so. I think that I was very surprised.
Matt O'Reilly's just channeled his inner Callum McGregor. We go and get the ball at the edge of the box, but doesn't take a convincing touch. He's robbed by Leipzig, and now they got the other end. This could be very similar to what happened last week, minus the injury, of course, for Callum McGregor. Edge of the box. It's a good block though.
It's a great
and it
block.
goes back to Joe Hart.
It's not a good block, it's a terrific block.
Mark, that is, I mean, what more do you do about that? I mean, Celtic are about 8 yards out, maybe down in the corner, and it's just one heavy touch, one bit of overplay from Matt O'Reilly, and as quick as a flash, Leipzig go and get a shot from the edge of the other box.
Well, I suppose this is where my argument lies, that Matt O'Reilly loses that. He has no cover behind him. Maybe if Hatate maybe tucks in behind him, maybe sees how things build up, almost like there's too many bodies ahead of the ball and they lose it. And you see how quick they are at breaking. I mean, O'Reilly does unbelievable to actually get back and block that, because that's a big chance for Leipzig.
Big moment in the game at Hampden. Penalty Scotland. Caroline Weir stands over it. Handball. This would be exactly what we need to happen, because Portugal, I think, still 2-1 up. So take that. Hopefully that finishes 2-1, and then Scotland hopefully go and win this one. So Caroline Weir with the penalty, and she it's saved. It's a big save to the keeper's left. It's a blow. That is a blow early on. Hopefully though, just kick on from there.
Yeah. Is that Portugal game finished yet? Do we know? No,
it went to extra time.
Right, okay.
Half time, extra time.
Well, still plenty of time to go. If there's a time to miss a penalty, it's
miss it early.
15 minutes. Philosophical.
Just miss it early. You get plenty of time. But this is turning into a good tactical game. This, I thought Celtic are starting to drop off a little bit rather than press that high press. They look like, we've seen that in the first leg, Gordon. They've got good quality, they've got good movement, they get men forward. They are not coming here for it's good ball.
Yeah, good tackle, Carter Vickers, but it does come back to Werner, and then Taylor clears. Mark, it depends if you're a pessimist, right? And Greg Taylor does brilliant there. He holds on to the ball again for the fourth Champions League game in a row. Celtic have had the best chances early on. You can still absolutely envisage a Leipzig goal here though, and that's that constant balance if you don't take your chances. So Leipzig might score here, and then I'm thinking of your argument with Frank, Celtic are too open, whatever it may be. If Celtic take those chances early on, that conversation becomes different, doesn't it?
You're talking about the Maeda one.
Yeah. And then even I do think, I know it doesn't come to much in the end, but I do think Haksabanovic is one fairly easy touch at the edge of the box away from a really golden opportunity as well.
I would probably argue that Maeda chance is probably not as clear cut as the ones in
Leipzig. Accept that.
Yeah, but of course you need to take your chances. That's a big argument, because if Celtic take their chances in the other games, then my argument's probably redundant, but they didn't.
This is clever from Leipzig, and Carter Vickers out of position but held by Joe Hart.
They've defended their box well, Celtic. We said at the beginning of the show, Gordon, it's got to be a big night for them. They've got to defend well. Goalkeeper cut out the couple of mistakes he's made in recent weeks. He's a very experienced goalkeeper. He's got that in his locker, just to shrug that aside and concentrate on this. So far I think anything that the visiting team's thrown in there, I think they've defended it well.
And this is good from Celtic as well, until that pass from Kyogo.
That's what I'm talking about.
Majorly overhit.
See, at this level, a player of his, he's got to keep that, or he's got to give a decent pass. That's too easy
exactly
for me.
what Celtic were trying. It's quick as a flash into midfield, into Kyogo. Maeda goes on his bike, so that bit was all great. But
you know what's great about it? Greg Taylor there again, and it's a big plus, for the way Postecoglou plays, because you can see the Leipzig, right winger just switching off, and before you know it, Taylor's on the turn, and they should do better. They wee bits make a difference. They need to get them right on the night, because Maeda, he's away, he's already got the beating of that full back going the other way once. They need to keep using his pace on that left hand side.
And Kunku's so sharp, even when he's not in control of the ball. I actually think he miscontrolled it there, or it ran beyond him. He still almost got there and forced Carter Vickers into a rushed clearance, which he doesn't necessarily like to do. He's just so lively, isn't he?
He's just quality, Gordon. Let's not be kidded here. This guy, you could think that you've marked him out the game for about 8 or 9 minutes, and then all of a sudden he appears in a situation and kills it for you. He's just an absolutely terrific footballer, and that's why clubs
there
like
we
Chelsea.
are. That's good pressing best pressing from Kyogo. It's just a goal kick, if you like, but if we're talking about setting the tone, he chases down the goalkeeper, and it goes out of play for a goal kick off Kyogo. But again, much like Celtic try and do, Leipzig then reset very quickly, and they take the next one, which means Kyogo
is kind of out of position, and he can't get there. But you imagine
he's a victim of his own good press on the first occasion.
The roar that gets, see something as simple as that, just letting the goalkeeper know that he's not going to get all the time in the world every time it goes back to him, and here he goes again, he's going to press him again. He needs people up behind him. Just looks like his teammates are a wee bit warier behind him. They aren't really.
You can almost see where you can see Leipzig's spare man develop every time, Gordon, can't you?
I think Celtic pressing them high just now suits them, because look, they've played 2 passes and they've taken about 3 players out of the game.
They're very good at that.
Yeah, they're brilliant at it. So I think that there you go again. All of a sudden the gaps are opening up because players are committing themselves. They're getting played out of the game, but they win it back there, and then
Celtic win it back, but Hatate's on his heels. And this is where Leipzig might be dangerous, but now O'Reilly reads it, and that's good protection from him, Mark. That's brilliant. Everyone knows what he's capable of on the ball, but if he's in that role, he's he's read it, he's slid in. That's a real defensive play. And here comes Celtic. They've got men over. He's going to choose Juranovic down the right, but his cross is just not great, and it's blocked.
No, that was brilliant from O'Reilly there, because he does that role that McGregor usually does, reads it, breaks it up, and then falls to him again. He spreads it wide and Celtic are away, and Juranovic really has got to do better there with the cross.
Mark, I was listening to Saturday when we were watching them against St Johnstone, and you were talking about Hagsabanovic's run. He was taking a bad space.
I wonder Carter Vickers should have just taken the foul maybe on the halfway line. Big chance, good block. Moritz Jens.
He's got to see Silva there. Werner's got to see Silva. He's right in the penalty spot. I mean, that's a let off.
Yeah, and you right on the halfway line, Mark. Carter Vickers, he doesn't look particularly quick getting back there. Carter Vickers, I don't know if I'm being unfair.
No, I agree with you, Gordon. He gets turned, and I know he's missed a wee bit of football, but he's usually
covers the ground a bit quicker than that usually. Again, Gordon, sort of management we saw Callum McGregor do it against Motherwell. It wouldn't have been a sending off or anything like it. He maybe could have done it against Shakhtar and didn't. Ended up injured, didn't he, over in Leipzig last week. Portugal have got a third against Iceland. Now,
Alright, calm down.
Wales, we're depending on Wales now.
That makes life a little bit more difficult for Scotland. They'd now need to win by 2, and they've already missed a penalty. Switzerland 1, Wales 1.
You know that old saying that a manager will say, silence the crowd. Now, you know Celtic supporters will give every backing, but this team have been very comfortable in possession. 21, 22 minutes in the clock. They look like they're up for this game. Celtic just need to make sure they don't give anything away cheaply here. Try and get a hold of the ball, try and get the passes, try and get their wide players. I look at their wide players, I look at the width that Celtic have got. For me, they have to get Abada on the ball, Maeda on the ball, get running at full backs, get balls in the box, and hopefully take their chances.
That's very well done from Kyogo. He spun away from a couple. Eventually a tackle comes in, and he gets a throw in. Is that what you're talking about, running at people? Is that where Jota's the obvious miss? If you're looking for, although Celtic have wide options, of all the people that you want to stand up a fullback one-on-one, it's him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got quality. He's probably
because he's got the trick as well as.
Yeah, he's the best wide man at Celtic Park. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, this is great. Edge of the box. It's a thunderous tackle though on Haksabanovic. And this is again good. Greg Taylor's in the box. I don't know why he doesn't shoot. Oh my goodness, what an opportunity that would have been. It's a big opening for Celtic. It ends up not being anywhere near as close as it should because Greg Taylor tries to cut it back. And here comes Hatate again though. He usually shoots but he's crowded out. Really good period this from Celtic. And to be fair, you look at Leipzig, every man back behind the ball, Mark, not scared to do that.
Because they're so athletic going the other way and they can just bring bodies forward. But what a chance it is for Taylor.
Why does he not shoot?
He's on his left foot. Maybe because he's on the swivel. It's harder
to cut it back
because he has to wrap his body around it.
I think you've got to hit that, Gordon.
100%. And I think the point that Mark makes, it if it's on his weaker foot you can understand it. It's on his favourite foot. He's got to drill that across. Even if a goalkeeper gets a hand that, you've got people coming in for a tap in. I think he missed an opportunity here, Greg Taylor, but they're getting in good positions in the flanks now.
An entirely unfair comparison because he's had to wrestle with these things his full Celtic career. But you might remember Kieran Tierney against Leipzig flashing one into the bottom corner at that same area of the pitch. So Greg Taylor just...
It's better this from Celtic
much
over
better,
the last minute or two. You know, finding good positions.
That's really nice. Really nice edge of the box, flashed across corner Celtic.
I wonder if Maeda could have taken an extra touch there.
I agree, but I think that's good defending. See if that was the other box, we would be saying Carter Vickers. That's good defending. I think he tries to play that early ball. I think Kyogo, I'm watching him, he's on the move. Good defending. Sometimes you've got to give credit to defenders, Mark, for my opinion.
I mean, it's taken a similar shape to last week's game.
Very similar,
where Celtic were under the cosh, rode the storm, and then became the better side.
Celtic's first corner, it wasn't, I don't think it was a great delivery. I'm sure he didn't mean it, Haksabanovic. It was very low, but it almost worked, and it bounced right across a couple of yards from goal.
I'd like to see
this is really good from Celtic. Haksabanovic across, saved by the goalie and out for a corner. Really good spell this for Celtic.
Brilliant spell. Yeah.
Haksabanovic, look at his pass here. Then he gets off the back of the Leipzig defence. Does he go for goal there? I think he does go for goal. Initially I thought that was a cross, flash across the front, but he actually goes for goal in the front post area. But good spell this for Celtic, best of the game so far.
Yeah, some good openings, second corner in succession. I think this delivery will have a bit more height, and indeed it does. Jens heads over.
It's a good ball, I think, in a good area, just over that front post man. You see it again, but maybe Jens could have done a wee bit better there. It maybe comes at him a bit quick, but now this is a good period. Greg Taylor, we're just going to see this again where he gets into a position. It's a great run and he's got to hit that. It's going to be hard to beat him, but he's still got to make him work.
As you say, Mark, I think it's more to do with it's actually harder to cut that back because he really has to manipulate his body and bring his hip right round to almost face backwards, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
And if this makes it, Celtic press
corner
Leipzig,
Celtic,
and it's a corner here.
Big mistake from Leipzig. Celtic pressed them into a mistake.
I was going to say about Taylor, if you hit the shot, you make the goal, maybe parry it, and then you get Kyogo falling in rather than wrapping your body around it.
Everybody does shoot, and we've done it for years. And the coaches used to say across the keeper, anything comes out.
Celtic hit the post, and the rebound hits the bar, and the third rebound goes wide. The second rebound goes wide. Celtic coming so close. I think O'Reilly edge of the box, hit the post. I don't know which one was offside.
One offside.
Either way, it was close because the first shot would have stood. O'Reilly, I think it's maybe Maeda in the end, is it? Either way, Celtic coming extremely close, hitting the post and then the bar. An offside flag does go up eventually. I'm not sure who it was against, but
I think it was the last one, Maeda. So you've got O'Reilly, good strike off the post. Taylor should put his laces through it and probably put it in the net, and he hits the bar, and then I think it's Maeda, the last one. But is it the same old stories again? Someone else.
You want to add the land to someone else, of course you can. But I thought it was a very clever free kick. They've caught Leipzig out. Sorry, corner. My apologies, Gordon. Nice shot.
Apology accepted.
Takes on his left foot. Great effort. It's beating the goalkeeper. Doesn't beat the post. But you're right. If that falls to a Kyogo, it's in the back end.
You maybe don't want your two best chances falling to Greg Taylor, with no disrespect to him, of course. But that's what's happened for Celtic so far, Gordon.
Yeah, but the good thing is that you've got to say encouraging. The last 5 minutes, 6 minutes, I think Celtic have been
well on top now.
They're moving the ball, they're getting width, they're getting players forward. Taylor's having a very good game. Yes, the reason he's up there, he's in the box, he's trying to make things happen. I think that Postecoglou will be really encouraged by the last few minutes of this game.
The chances he gets, Mark, they're coming when he makes that central run as well. Greg Taylor, your left back, he's starting in
to go out,
which for a full back, like, we've not really seen that before in Scottish football.
No, never. And I think defensively, if I'm coming up against that as a full back or a midfielder, I find that hard to defend against. Who takes him? Who picks him up?
That's brilliant play down
good
the
play
right
for
hand side.
Juranovic. Yeah, so it's incredibly difficult to pick up.
Haksabanovic ball in. What a golden chance for Kyogo. It's a free header, 8 yards out. Haksabanovic does great, delicate ball in, and Kyogo heads over the bar. He was just onside. It comes in he's just in front of the penalty spot, so a bit further than 8 yards.
Got to score.
Huge chance, Mark. We're becoming a bit of a broken record on these Champions League nights.
That's his best chance he's had over the campaign. I mean, Kyogo, middle of the goal, he's not stretching.
Got to score. He keeps that ball down, you're right. Keeps the ball down, he's beating the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper ain't moving from that. I don't think you get better chances than that, especially at this level of football.
That's the concern now, isn't it? It's encouraging in one hand, but concerning on the other.
Do you know what I pick out there? Haksabanovic's ball. It's brilliant. Right on the money. Go on, put the ball in the back of your net. We'll go 1-0 up. Kyogo, for me, if you're going to call yourself a top striker at this level, has got to put that in the back of your net.
And you just think domestically, it's the type of chance you see Kyogo score with these, but it's just something in this campaign with Celtic.
Mark, you're not going to header that thinking in your back of mind, it's the Champions League, right?
It's an instinctive one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah, I totally agree. Probably fits against Dundee United, Aberdeen or whatever. That's balls in the back of your head. I don't know. It's just a bad miss.
It's strange to put your finger on it, because Celtic now over this is the fourth game, and here comes Leipzig with one.
Great defending, Maurice Jens. If he heads it anywhere down, Mark, any corner, because the keeper's just rooted in the middle, so he can go any way, any corner down the way. But he sort of goes centrally and over the bar. Kyogo, it's not an ideal option.
I mean, I'm the last person to give tips to Kyogo about how to finish, but you just think the skid on the surface on a night like this would be incredibly difficult for a goalkeeper to react that quickly.
You do yourself down. You don't need to be a chef to know a good steak.
He would have thrown his to the ground and shouted penalty. He wouldn't even have went for a header. But I think that's great play with Celtic. Haksabanovic, we'll talk about being a winger. I think he takes up great positions. He puts good balls in. He could be I like the look of him. I thought he was very good at Perth, and tonight I think he started very well indeed, causing problems.
Really good spell for Celtic. Another one who looks very confident is Josip Juranovic. He is, he's got his sprinting boots on, he's striding away from people. That's just a bit slack from Hatate. He just obviously a lot less time than he's used to. Is that the hardest bit to get used to, Mark, when you step up just to this level?
Yeah, at the time, and probably when you give the ball away, you don't see it for a long time. Even you see Hatate giving the ball away there because he's been hurried into a pass and he chases after it. Now domestically, he probably hurries the opposition player into giving it back. These players are that strong and confident.
And you have to look at that. I mean, Celtic do eventually, well, they don't, sorry, it's back and forward, but I was going to say it's a sort of a clearance that goes fired straight into the Leipzig attacker, and it's just one touch to kill it and move it on, and very tidy with what they're doing so far. We'll stay with it because Leipzig are attacking. Celtic have enjoyed a really good spell, but that one's going to go through to Greg Taylor. What was your Champions League debut again?
Man United.
Oh, nice easy one.
Eased me in, up against.
And did it just feel like...
honestly, it blew me away. Just the full occasion, going out there, the tune, but then
the standard.
Just the standard.
Was it? Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't used to
Who
playing
was your manager?
Gordon Duncan.
Did you
I
say?
wasn't used to playing at that level because a lot of these players had played international football. I hadn't even sampled that, so it was.
Did you say it's racking need 4 sitting midfield players?
We did. We had 4 that day, and we still conceded 3. So there's a bullet holes in that argument.
Do you remember? Do you have time to think about it on the pitch? Was there one thing that jumped out where you thought, this is the Champions League? This is what they mean about the level. So who had you played in the weekend? Do you remember?
No, I can't remember Gordon. But you know what I noticed about it? That as a right back, as a full back, you got more time in the ball to pick your passes until you got near that final third, and then everything was condensed. And then the opposite, you allowed more time in the ball, and when they got in that final third, everything was just zipped round about you, like really punched into strikers round the corner, guys running at you so quick, and you thought, well,
so who was you play right back or left back?
I played right back that night.
Who was left side for Man United? Giggs?
Giggs played. Giggs, remember, won the penalty, dived for.
Dived.
That wasn't me. That was Boris.
I was just wondering because I was trying to figure out who it was that kept shouting, leave him on it.
Yeah.
He's just saying he's had a lot of time on the ball.
Yeah.
And funny enough, nobody else got time on that.
Not by accident.
I was thinking, not coming to me here.
Sound his teammates come over and have a look at this guy here.
But as a kind of chess game like that,
is that the worst shout in football?
Leave him on it.
No, he doesn't want it.
Oh, he doesn't.
That's a classic of the amateur football game, isn't it?
Yeah.
He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it, or I think leave him on it as the shades that. Leave him on it because you know you're hopeless there.
Good sliding tackle. Hatate, ref doesn't think so. He thinks it's a foul on the halfway line. Oh no, Portugal 4, Iceland 1.
What is going on?
Oh, and Ireland had the ball in the net, by the way, but it was ruled out and also to correct myself, it definitely wasn't in any way a good tackle by Hatate. I thought he had got the ball, but he didn't.
Free kick.
Clear free kick.
Good refereeing. Got it correct. Is he out with a yellow card? Yes, he is.
He's took his time to give that, is he not?
I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, I mean, it probably does tick that box of stopping a promising attack. That's why you get in the book. But you're right, I don't know why it took him so long.
Yeah. I thought he'd got away with it, and then all of a sudden he decided maybe it was just taking his time, calming everything down. Maybe that's the way the referee operates.
I actually thought there was players around a bit of Hatate as well. That I think he's a wee bit unfortunate to get a yellow card. I don't think it's not the same as a defender or a fullback getting one, is it? He's hardly on a tightrope.
Here's one of the players that it's all gone wrong. It has all gone wrong for Scotland. Switzerland have scored in the 121st minute. So actually,
what does that mean?
Scotland need to win by 3.
Right, and we've missed a penalty.
Yeah.
Right, it's not looking good. Bill Gibbs isn't he going to New Zealand or Australia?
Plenty of time. Never give up.
Celtic can still get in that 10-team tournament to qualify.
If they win.
So it's not, the World Cup's not over. It's just it can't be done tonight unless they win by 3. I think that's right in saying. Celtic not having the majority of the ball. The stats have just flashed up. That's very much in Leipzig's favour. But the shooting chances, the chance creation, the off-target, on-target stats, all in Celtic's favour.
And stats with chances, I think Celtic should be in front of you. I think they've obviously they've created
the best
better
chances by far.
Well, yeah,
in fact, have Leipzig actually had any
shots in target?
No, even chances, openings as such.
No, they had.
I mean, they've looked dangerous.
I thought was a bit dangerous was the ball at the back post where Greg Taylor was brilliant defending, and then O'Reilly's got a block. But apart from that, they've not really caused a lot of trouble.
Celtic were hoping for an offside, but it doesn't going to come. It's half time at Tannadice, and they'll try and go there and get the story, but it's hard to take your eyes off this. And now Leipzig looking so dangerous even when you think it's getting away from Nkunku, sticks out one of those long legs and rescues it. And they do have men over at the back. They always just seem to sort of create that
Simican and Ram, the way they play his fullbacks, I mean, it's obviously
Play his wingers,
yeah,
Mark.
yeah. So there's a switch from one side of the 18-yard box to the other, one fullback to the other.
I was kind of waiting for a lull in play to go to Dave Galloway, but after 36 minutes we've not had a lull, so I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Let's try. If we need to interrupt him for action at Celtic Park, we will. Half time at Tannadice, Dave.
Yeah, half-time Dundee United 1, Hibs 0. A confident start from both teams with play flowing from end to end like a basketball match. The hosts had the first clear-cut chance of the night when a ball over the top sent Middleton scampering through in the left. However, his effort rippled the side net. At the other end, Hanlon's header from a corner was held at full stretch by Eriksson. United went ahead after 11 minutes with a very well-worked goal. Behic linked up with McGrath and scored with a terrific outside of the foot finish. Hibs thought they'd equalised when Kuharevich netted after Ewan helped the ball on to him, but it was disallowed for offside to Lee Johnson's fury. It's a terrific encounter here, been really entertaining in this first half, and I don't think we're done with the scoring yet. It's Dundee United 1, Hibs 0.
Big counter-attacking chance for Leipzig after good Celtic play, but the cross is overhit and Joe Hart breathes a sigh of relief. I mean, again, Mark, it was good from Celtic. They go up one end, but if you don't make that count, they'll come back at you just as quick, if not quicker.
Yeah, and it seems to be a ploy from Leipzig to not to give Celtic chances, but the more they push bodies forward, as soon as it breaks down, you see the two full-backs charging up, and it's a poor ball in the end by Ram to let Celtic off the hook. But it's a fascinating encounter. The only surprise is it is 0-0, and Celtic have had by far the better chances.
Because see, in fairness, and I don't want to make everything tonight about this debate about whether Celtic are open or not. Leipzig are obviously equally as open, because of the way Celtic are coming forward. That's the problem for Celtic though. Abada, he was at 1-on-1 against the fullback, tried to go by him. At this level, fullbacks are good, and he just takes it straight off him.
I don't mind that though. See, your wide guys going at fullbacks every time. I'll take that all the time, rather than wide guys getting the ball and going back the way.
I think the problem is when they win it so cleanly.
He's hurt himself.
I think they clashed knees, which is always a sore one. Yeah, they did that. That's all.
That's a sore one.
I think you're right, Mark. You should always just be positive and try it. It's the worst case scenario though, isn't it? Where the fullback takes it clean off him. Abada's down. All the other Celtic players are in an attacking area, and Leipzig can go forward with it.
Yeah. You certainly don't want that. I think he just allows them to get too close to him. And Abada with his pace, he just really needs to take one touch and then get it out of his body and go.
When I started my career as a winger, and a very quick one, I just used to drop the shoulder.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Knock it 3 or 4 yards. Woof.
Yeah, sure.
See you later. I'll talk to you on the way back. But Abada's got that in his locker. Just knock that ball back. It's not the worst he's going to get. Throw in. But he takes it too close, I think, to the defender. Makes the defender's job easy. Clashing knees, that's a sore one, but hopefully we'll rub that off. He'll be fine.
PSG 1-up on Benfica. Kylian Mbappe, speculation about his future. What a life that guy lives, just demanding anything he wants. He scored.
Just signed a new contract or something.
Did I hear about him not posing for a photo with the France team over some sponsorship row a few weeks ago?
I think he's got high opinion of himself. But so does Gordon Dalziel, and that's where the similarities end.
Similar goal scorer, similar pace about you.
I had good pace at the beginning of my career.
So
when did you deny that? When I was 17.
Abada is fine, and Celtic continue to look. I mean, the defensive play there is Kyogo looked like he was in, or he was the right side. I'll tell you what,
he's not fine.
Abada is not fine from that clash of knees.
Certainly looks like it. I mean, it did look like just a clash back. And sometimes these things are sore for a couple of minutes, and
you
they
get 5 minutes to half
off.
time. Is it not worth just? And then you've an hour 15 onto that. So in 20 minutes time, he could be jogging up and down. He could be fine.
It's a good job I am no physio, because I just always assumed that was just one of those impact ones that did hurt, Mark. It can really, really hurt. But you probably get over it in time, and certainly with the chance. But now look, listen,
struggling.
What do I know?
I mean, you don't know. Look at McGregor last week. I get McGregor's was a different one, a block challenge, and that looks like a clash of knees. But McGregor's now a lengthy spell. That did look more impact. Kind of. But we don't know. Anyways, he's gone off. That's the bottom line. Chance for James Forrest. We don't see a lot of him at this kind of level nowadays.
Well,
But by the way, he scored in the last game, I'm sure, that Celtic won the Champions League at home against Ajax 2-1.
He may well have done.
I think so.
They're bringing on plenty of experience. Let me say that. I thought that Abada, obviously it's getting worse, Gordon. The limp's getting worse there as he's going off, so obviously it's getting sorer for him. I thought he could have just maybe pushed it to half time, gives him an extra 15 minutes just to assess him, but he feels that he can't continue. And Forrest, great point to prove to the Celtic fans, he's won everything for the club, he's been brilliant for them, still got a lot to offer for me.
Celtic's injury problems at the moment, Mark, must be frustrating, because yes, they have options. It's not the end of the world to bring on someone of James Forrest's experience. But if that's Abada and Jota and McGregor just all at once, it's not ideal, is it?
It's going to affect you. Of course it's going to affect you. My complaint Saturday was that the guys coming off the bench weren't making an impact probably like they should, and they were a long way off the standard of the starting 11. But look, James is a terrific servant to Celtic and a brilliant player. He's got an opportunity here.
Played in a lot of these big games.
Oh, he has.
See, the thing about that, Mark, is right, Abada's been hardly seen in the first half anyway. You know, we've not seen
he created that chance for Maeda, didn't he?
I've the first one early doors after about 34. Yeah, but apart from that, he's not really been involved in the game. Maybe Forrest by experience.
Mark, he gives the foul away, but is it a weirdly encouraging sign of Matt O'Reilly in that defensive role? Because if you can't win it, you stop. Was it Nkunku or stop whoever it is from getting forward?
Look, I think he's done well tonight. I really do. I think he's sat there. He's taken the ball when he's needed to. He's made a few tackles. He stopped that kind of promising attack there. Exactly what you want for your centre midfielder.
You mentioned your Champions League experiences, Mark, and it wasn't that long ago, but you did also mention that it's even a different style now. The Leipzig goalkeeper was about 45 yards from his goal there, and just picking up the ball and just playing like an outfield player.
Well, that is one of the big differences. Goalkeepers have now become such an integral part of the game that you use them as another player. That's where we say they're looking for the spare player. The goalie is attracting strikers in to pop it round you. It's great to watch, but we wouldn't have trusted any of our goalies.
Oh, of course not.
No way.
In my day, he could just pick up and kick up the park. It was brilliant.
You just kept passing it back to the goalie. He would pick it up
and he just lumped up the park. I headed
that must have been so easy to play in though. You just kick it back to the goalie.
And they picked it up. Yeah.
Crucial time this for Celtic. Won't want to concede here. 44 gone. There will be and it's given away by Kyogo. There will be a Lil Abada shaped delay, I'm sure. But here come Leipzig. This could be a tough end to the half. Poor cross.
See, that's why I said earlier, I'm sorry, Kyogo's a terrific player, right? But when you step up the levels in this level here, you've got to hold that in. You can't be giving that away cheaply. That can cost you goals.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, he's not firing in front of goals just now at this level, and I have to agree with Daz there. You have to take that in, pop it off, keep possession. You're putting your back line, your midfield. There's so much debate in midfield under pressure. You expect better for a player.
He's been robbed, and O'Reilly tries once, twice, and now it's into the box. This could be
what a save, Joe Hart. That's a great save. Down with his feet. I actually thought I was just waiting in the net, bulging there.
Taylor slips.
Kunku, it's great feet from him.
It's through the legs of Carter Vickers, which is never easy, and that's a really smart stop with the boot of Joe Hart. Goes over the bar. So a bit of a late storm for Celtic to weather. They've done well, they've created chances, but they'll be desperate to get in level now. 2 minutes added on, we're just into that, and Leipzig with the corner, and it's headed over the bar.
Yeah, it'd have been a blow if they lost a goal there. Good save from Joe Hart. Uses his foot there just to get it away from the danger, but just a wee warning sign. It's been a good first half. I think there's a lot of it Postecoglou will be pleased with.
He'll like a lot of it, won't he?
Yeah, I think he'll be.
But you can also, it's the perfect balance, or the bang in the middle. You can see also exactly what they're capable of.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, tonight the first goal here, so important.
Crucial,
yeah, so important for these two teams. And I think the Celtic will take encouragement that they've had the better of the chances and really should have put the ball in the back in it.
Yeah, Leipzig with the better possession, the more controlled possession, but Celtic definitely with the better of the goal scoring chances. Here comes Dalziel and Mark. Maybe there's time for Celtic actually, rather than hanging on. Maybe they could carve out one more. There's quite a good structure. There's no fear from Leipzig of just bringing everybody back. That's what they do when they've got the chance.
Yeah, they are good defensively as well, we've got to say. In this first 45 minutes, they're not afraid to get bodies in between. But Celtic have been smart a few times and played round them, so there is encouragement there. There is still some pace. Again, the moan in this first half would be that final bit of the jigsaw.
Chance taking.
Yeah, chance taking.
I think Celtic will probably need to settle for this now. They do have good possession, but literally a matter of seconds to go before the referee does bring the first half to a close. Oh, he's gone a couple of seconds early. Andrew McLean is at Celtic Park.
Celtic 0, RB Leipzig 0, the half-time score, and it's the same old story for Celtic in the Champions League this season. They've created the chances, but they just haven't been able to take any of them so far. They had a big chance within a minute as well. Lila Bada's cross finding Dalziel and Mark at the edge of the 6-yard box. The ball was slightly behind him and he could only direct that header over. Around 15 minutes in, Leipzig had one of their impressive counter-attacks, and Kunku and Werner getting them up the park really well, and Kunku crossed for Hidara, but Matt O'Reilly did really well to block that effort. Celtic with a decent spell of pressure after that. Greg Taylor was in a really good area, but he cut the ball back instead of shooting, and that seemed to be the wrong choice at the time. Not long after that, Sead Haksabanovic forced a corner from an effort that was at a really tight angle. They then hit the woodwork twice in a matter of seconds. The ball was worked to Matt O'Reilly at the edge of the box from a corner. He hit the post. The ball then fell to Greg Taylor and he struck the bar from the rebound. Celtic so close to going ahead. Then another fantastic chance when Kyogo headed over from the centre of the box. It was a really good cross from Sead Haksabanovic to get him into that position as well. And then just before the break, Joe Hart had to make his first save. It was just as the injury time board went up as well. Christopher and Kunku, good footwork in the box. It was a low shot, was sort of knocked over the bar by the feet of Joe Hart. Lila Bada picking up an injury late in the half as well. James Forrest having to come on for him. But Ange Postecoglou's side have just been unable to find that clinical touch at Celtic Park so far. The half-time score here, Celtic 0, RB Leipzig 0.
This is Celtic versus RB Leipzig. The Old Firm in Europe's big league. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time in the Champions League, it's Celtic 0, RB Leipzig 0. Celtic with some really decent chances, some good opportunities. They've hit the post and then the bar, which is probably the closest they've come. James Forrest has had to come on for Lila Abada, so it's kind of similar to a lot of Celtic Champions League games. It's a good performance. There's a lot to like about it, but they can't score yet, and RB Leipzig do look very dangerous as well, you have to say. Let's go to Hampden, because it's a massive night. By the end of the night, Scotland's women's team could have secured a place at the World Cup. However, that's not looking overly likely right now, Gabriel.
No, it's not, Gordon. 0-0 here at Hampden Park. This game is somehow still goalless with, as you say, World Cup qualification on the line. You've got to say, though, Ireland have been by far the better team here in Glasgow. Scotland thought they'd made the perfect start when they were awarded a penalty in the 14th minute. Now, Martha Thomas' header hit the bar, nearly went in, and then on the replay, it was clear that the shot had hit an outstretched arm on the way. Carolyn Weir stepped over the penalty, but she missed it. Courtney Brosnan dived to her left, a fantastic save. That was Scotland's best, and you have to say, only real chance of the first 45. Then it was all Ireland. A throw in from Megan Campbell went straight into the back of the net. Somehow no one touched it. You've got to say, what a weapon that has been from Campbell, reminiscent of Rory Delap back in his Stoke City days. O'Goran was then the next to miss a sitter. Diving header went over the crossbar from about 6 yards out after great work from Katie McCabe on the left. And then just in added time, there was a goal line scramble, a great save by Lee Gibson. Sophie Howard had a couple of clearances off the line. You've got to ask, how have Ireland not scored here? We were speaking earlier, Scotland were relying on results from elsewhere. They needed either Wales or Portugal to win. Wales lost with an 120th minute Switzerland winner, so no good there. Portugal were victorious after extra time. However, their 4-1 win over Iceland means Scotland need to equal that and win by 3. It's looking very unlikely here at the moment. If anyone is to win this game right now, it is the visitors. A big team talk is required from Pedro Martinez Losa. His side must improve and focus on trying to win and stay in contention of reaching the World Cup. Half-time here at Hampden, it's Scotland 0, Ireland 0.
See, here's the thing, Gabriel. In all of the confusion, I've got a suggestion. Surely if Scotland win in normal time, that should be deemed as better than winning 4-1 even after extra time.
Well, that's what you'd think, but a win after extra time is still deemed as a victory and therefore 3 points. So in the mini-league table, this qualification, complicated process, Portugal getting 3 points, and the thing is they drew, they got their 3 goals all in extra time. Perhaps that will happen here. It goes the distance, maybe Ireland get a player sent off, and then Scotland can open the floodgates. We'll just have to wait and see, but it's going to be a long night here in Hampden. Anything could still happen.
See what I mean, Mark Wilson? I think we should get UEFA on the phone. If you're going to rank it in this ridiculous way, surely a win in 90 minutes is better than you needing extra time to do.
Of course it is.
Oh well, anyway, tough task now for Scotland, but we'll see how the second half progresses. Will Ange Postecoglou be a happy man at the break?
Yes and no. I think he'll be happy with the chances they've created. I think they've defended very well as well, Gordon. This team looks quality, but where he'll be disappointed, how many more chances they need to start putting in the back of net.
Will there be another change at the break? He likes a change at the break, Ange Postecoglou, but he's already brought James Forrest on for Leila Bada. The second half is coming up next.
This is Celtic versus RB Leipzig. The Old Firm in Europe's big league. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half about to get underway at Celtic Park. Andrew McLean.
Yeah, no more changes for either side. Of course, James Forrest came on for the injured Leila Bada just before the break, so he was out at half time doing a bit of an extra warm up, but it has been a frantic first half, as you'd expect. Celtic, you'd think under normal circumstances, would be happy with that, but with how they've played over the last few weeks, they've squandered a lot of chances. You think Ange Postecoglou will be a frustrated figure at the moment with the way it's going, but Celtic will hope they can continue to create chances. Leipzig still have a lot of quality in their team as well, so you wouldn't count on it being 0-0 by the end of this game, but Christopher Nkunku is standing over the ball and we are just about to get underway for the second half.
Super Scoreboard European football coverage with MoyerandSweeney.com, the top team for your defence.
Sorry to start the second half with such bad news, Celtic fans, but it's Shakhtar Donetsk 1, Real Madrid 0 on 46 minutes. Alexander Zubkov has put Shakhtar in front, and that really changes things, Mark, because everything was all built on the notion that Real Madrid win all their games. That would move Shakhtar on to 7 points. Even if Celtic do find a winner, they only go on to 4. That's really changed things.
Yeah, that's a bit of disappointment. What kind of teams Real Madrid got out tonight? It better not be their Rezzies have got out, but it's historically Real Madrid not always.
Yeah, they've always got one
that they lose in these group stages. No, that's not ideal for Celtic. But just do your own job and then worry about that afterwards.
Full strength by the looks of it, or thereabouts anyway. I know that Modric is injured, isn't he? Oh no, he's on the bench actually. So there we are. Yeah, taking it easy. Team. Oh no, it's not full strength. I take that back, because Vinicius Junior and Luka Modric
that's what we're
are
dealing
on the
with.
bench.
This guy's not having a good
Don't
night.
get me wrong, there's still Benzema, Rodrigo, Hazard, Valverde, Cruz, Tchouameni, Mendy, Nacho, Rudiger, Vasquez.
They were very aggressive there, Mark.
They're
Better
not
not be their reserves.
Rezzies, I think.
Rezzies, yeah, I'm sure they're worried about your opinion, but you're right. I think it's all down to Celtic now. They've got to concentrate on the job ahead. They're at home here, difficult night, but they've created chances in the first half. They need to start putting them in the back of net.
That's the Champions League in a nutshell sometimes, Mark, because it's alright saying, oh yeah, but Celtic did really well against Real Madrid and they were good for an hour. They lost 3-0, went and battered Shakhtar Donetsk, performance level wise, ended up with a draw. But sometimes this is what you need to do. Shakhtar Donetsk are beating Real Madrid. That is like Celtic doing it. We can't always just wash our hands of the big challenges and say, oh well, what do you expect? At some point you might need to do that.
Yeah, and we don't know how that game's panned out. Shakhtar could have played defensive and Nick won the counter attack. They could be battering Real Madrid, and it's everything they deserve. But the big thing is they've taken one of their chances against the big guns. Now they have something to hold on to. Now they can get people behind the ball if they want and defend. Celtic never really had that option at any time. They were undone by a goal, then they had to come out and they got picked off. So that is the problem. And they just hope that, I keep saying it's not the same old story after every game. It did well, but we didn't take our chances.
This is poor from Hatate. He's lost it in midfield, and Leipzig come forward, but it's still alive somehow. Carter Vickers is very ropey. He had 2 attempts to clear it, didn't manage it, and then comes back and he sliced it over his own crossbar. Celtic not making life easy for themselves on that occasion.
Put themselves under pressure. First phase of defending was very good, but then Carter Vickers just has a swipe. He's quite lucky. That ball could have ended up anywhere. They've got to defend this corner.
I feel like everything we've said about this group was hinging on Shakhtar not beating Real Madrid, which they are at the moment. So that really does change things, and Celtic have got defending to do. Not started the second half particularly brightly.
No, not really. Just inviting RB on to them, and they have to just weather this storm at the start of the second half.
Maeda slips, and it just allows Leipzig to advance, and Werner's riding challenges, and James Forrest. Celtic are really up against it here, and this could be it. They're through, and Joe Hart's goal, and another good stop from the Celtic keeper.
That's a huge save, that.
Yeah, massive. And I'll tell you what, he certainly makes up from the bit of criticism he's come in from with a few mistakes. That is a very good save. This team look like they've had the better of the half-time team talk, Gordon. They've come out with intentions of going up.
The Red Bull, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are.
I don't know what Celtic's energy drink provider is, but
yeah, they've been on the not sugar-free as well, because
the full calorie stuff, just to give that extra boost. But Celtic 49 minutes on the clock, goalless. The problem for them, Shakhtar Donetsk are leading Real Madrid by 1-0. So Celtic really need to win as things stand, and even at that would it would see them overtake RB Leipzig, but they would still be trailing Shakhtar quite significantly ahead of the visit of Shakhtar in the not too distant future.
It's not an ideal result for Leipzig either, and that is it when they look at it, because I'm pretty sure they would have came to Celtic Park thinking,
I think if
we win tonight, so
that's better.
Look, there's loads of time left in that game.
Better Celtic though. Kyogo to Forrest. We didn't get to see much of him at the end of the first half when he came on. Kyogo tries to flash one, wins a corner. I wonder if there was a cute little ball into James Forrest.
A wee reverse. It was good play with Celtic. Better for Kyogo. I think he needs to up his game the next 10-15, because I think already in Postecoglou's mind, maybe Giakoumakis coming off that bench, a different type of striker, but Kyogo's got it in his locker to put the ball in the back of the net.
Corner Celtic, it's a high curling one. Carter Vickers, he gets his head on it but can't put it anywhere near the goal. Now Maeda having to press, but even when Leipzig look like they're clearing the ball aimlessly, they manage to find someone, and I wonder if Matt O'Reilly needs to be
careful.
He's gone into the book already early on. There's not a great deal in that, is there, Mark? Is it possibly a foul?
I wonder if he just steps on his toe, which could be.
Here's the save, Mark.
Sorian, it's a Orban that's in here. And almost gets through Joe Hart's legs.
What part of his body does Joe Hart save that with?
Left hand side of the leg.
Bum cheek.
Or something. I don't know.
Something along there.
Who would be a goalie? You're having to put every part of your body on the line. But it worked that time for Joe Hart.
Good save. Really good save. An important save, because you can't afford to go one down here.
They're clever round the box. They just waited their opportunity, chance after chance, then slipped it through to get that opportunity.
Kyogo's been penalised for a foul as he just went to close down.
I think that's a foul.
Any complaints?
A late one. I wonder along Daz's lines, Kyogo next 5-10 minutes, if Ange Postecoglou will think of Giakoumakis and giving him a shot at this level. He's just not been himself, has he?
Played the Real Madrid game, didn't he?
He did play the Real Madrid game, yeah.
That's better, but he's given the ball away cheaply again.
He did so well to win it, but it just forced a really ambitious pass. It would have had to be immaculate to get to its intended destination, and it did not. And here come Leipzig, and that is a turn of pace down the flank. But Maeda does really well.
Well done, Maeda.
Really, that's why he's in the team, Gordon. Of course, there might be moments in front of goal where he could do better. Moritz Jens is just taking a chance.
There's no doubt he's in the team for that, Gordon. He's going forward. I do not think he's offered a lot. I really don't. In fact, I think Kyogo has not offered any. He should really score with a header. Apart from that, he's not offered a lot. Abada, until he get injured, never offered a lot for me. I think that Postecoglou will be looking for a little bit better. Yes, they're doing what you call the dirty side of football. They're chasing back, they're working hard, they're doing their bit for the team, but you want to see them going forward. That's where their energy is.
They've been good at getting into areas, you know, when they're off the ball mark and they're all attacking at will and sort of breaking. That bit of it's looked alright, but if they've had to craft anything out or make the most of those breaks, that's maybe where it's fallen down.
And that's, you don't often see that about Celtic in this side when they play this way. You know, they do look like they're lacking a wee bit of quality at times, which it's never been something you could angle at them. So it's been untidy at times. Passes that you expect certain players to make and put into goal scoring situations or further them up the pitch just hasn't been there. So they certainly could be better. And saying that, they've still had terrific chances.
Celtic thought about sort of stalling. They would have got a free kick, but James Forrest into the box. If he just let it come across his body. Here's Kyogo. He's scuffed it, Gordon. He's looked a good bit off it tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that already the manager will be maybe contemplating a little change. But he's one of these guys that can just pop up, put the ball in the back of the net, but he's not been on it at all.
Tell you what, Matt O'Reilly slid in there, and the referee gave an advantage. And he has to be pretty careful, I would imagine, Mark. He's been booked. He had a foul after that, and then he's gone and slid in like that one. Now Kyogo's down. Matt O'Reilly needs to just tread carefully.
I was wondering if the referee would keep it in mind and go over and book him, because it was Silva that was trying to dance through them all, and he gets away from O'Reilly, but he certainly impedes him and slows him down. So from a Celtic point of view, I suppose it's good play, but he's lucky not to be booked. Kyogo incident off the ball there, but again, it's not a clear cut chance, but better from Celtic into the box. And Kyogo, I
think it's not a bad chance. You know, he's got time to take a shot at goal from inside the box. He just doesn't
catch it cleanly.
Yeah, he's got to do better. Do you know what you notice about Haksabanovic? Every time he makes a run, it's always in the wide areas. He's got that wide player mentality in him. I wouldn't be surprised if they look maybe Maeda coming off, bringing him over one. Maybe Kyogo off, Giacomakis on, bring a midfield player on.
Right, just to do something rare, right? Because he gets a lot of stick at the moment. Is there not a case to say Maeda has been the most effective of Celtic's front three tonight?
Working back the way for me.
Has he been any less effective than Kyogo?
No, I said 2 minutes ago I thought I was very disappointed. I named every one of them.
Then, if he's the one that comes back and the other two don't as much, all round then he's been Celtic's most effective attacker.
but they've got to get a result tonight. So as much as he's doing and I said the dirty part of it, running back that nobody likes doing, tracking back, he's been terrific at that. You never fault the guy's work rate. You need to start being a threat going forward, and I think maybe a wee change would do them a world.
I get that. So I'm saying, what puts him first in the queue to come off out of the attackers then?
I'm taking two off.
I mean, he's brilliant closing down from him there.
And I don't think the refs gave a foul.
Yes,
he gave a foul. I thought
he's given a throw in to Leipzig.
I'm making two substitutes. I'm taking the two front guys off. I'm not just picking on him.
I think that type of closing down there is probably why he'll get kept on. Should have been a foul, to be fair.
That's a foul all day long. But he's
I was going to sub him, but he's just a terrific foul there. Keep him on the pitch.
But it wasn't a foul, though, was it?
But you've got to have players that's going to change this game for you. They've got to score a goal. We can stand here and say Maeda's working back is brilliant, and it is, but you've got to have something going forward. I would change the two. I would change the two front men. Obviously, Forrest come on a sub. You're not going to touch him. Haksabanovic out to the left. He can play there. Giacomakis through the middle gives a different option.
Maeda and who else off?
Kyogo.
Right. Okay. That would be surprising, wouldn't it? Just because they're Ange Postecoglou's favourites.
Yeah, but you've got two guys on the bench. Well, you've got one guy on the bench that knows where the back of the net is, and he's not frightened to get in and mix it up. Look, I'm a big fan of Kyogo. I think he's a very talented player, but I don't think he's offered a lot tonight.
Marco Rosa is not happy, if that's any consolation, Celtic fans. He's not getting it all his own way, and he's not happy with what he's seeing, but it is still goalless, and Shakhtar Donetsk do still lead Real Madrid by 1-0. So if anything, that's as significant as what's happening here, Mark.
It's unbelievable, that
the makeup of the group.
Yeah, I would still, if I had my last pound, put Real Madrid on to get something out of that
with
game.
all due respect, I hear what you bet at the weekends, and you're absolutely hopeless.
Yeah, anyone out there, gamble responsibly, get your money in Shakhtar.
I mean, remember at the weekend when you took Dumbarton to beat Stirling Albion, and Stirling Albion won 6-0.
Yeah, didn't see that coming.
Hamilton -2 against Morton.
Didn't see that coming.
And they won
5-0.
Yeah. I'm
gamble responsibly. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I think this game's taking its first real lull from both sides. You can see Marco Rosa there, not happy with his team either, but I don't think Ange Postecoglou will be either, because whether he changes it or not, Celtic need more in the attacking third. They've not started this second half particularly well, so he might just change it. He's shown he's not shy. If you put a team out to win the game, then at this stage, watching this, you can't be shy.
Hatate has been caught on the ball so many times, and here come Leipzig, and this might be the one that does for Celtic. Luckily for them, there's a slip in the box. It's trying to be brave, Mark, again, so there's part of that that's admirable, but he's taken it in tight areas a lot, and it's not really come off from Hatate.
No, but again, it's the way the manager wants to play.
Look at how open this game is now.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Here comes Celtic, they're into the box. Forrest, the cross is overhit. Did the keeper get a little touch on it? Maybe? Nah, I don't think so.
He's got to be disappointed. He's got to do better than that.
Not sure what even the intention was.
I don't know what he sees there. James is a terrific player. He's been in this stage many a time, but if he just gets his head up there, he can quite clearly see a cutback. But Celtic lucky, Hatate getting caught out 4v4.
Is it Silva that slips? No, I don't think so.
He's trying to get on his left foot. See if he lets that run across him.
Yeah.
On his right, they're in trouble. Celtic are starting to go up here.
Yeah. That's a great recovery from Juranovic, but it's not away yet. Good tackle, Carter Vickers. So open, but both teams are open, and it's going to be about who takes that chance first.
We were standing here, excitement of goals galore tonight. They've certainly let us down in that department, but chances are starting to, the spaces are starting to open up. You can see something's going to happen.
Yeah, Celtic looking a bit vulnerable at the back, but are also getting forward. It's sort of the way of things when they play, particularly in Europe.
Yeah, well, it's a big stage in the match. Our mark, the game is in the balance. You just don't want to allow Leipzig to come onto you too much and encourage them too much, and before you know it, you can't get out your own half. And I just wonder if that's why, what Daz says, a change might just give Celtic a bit of energy.
He might look at the middle of the park. He might think, I maybe need some. Hatate, we know, is a talented player, but I've never seen him give the ball away so much, especially second half.
I also think, again, to go over old ground, the level of opposition, Gordon, because even I saw that Hatate one back, he did a lot right. It looked like he had got his body in, and it looked like he had rolled his man, and then this leg came from nowhere and sort of reached round and stabbed the ball away.
Yeah,
you're playing against very good defensive midfield players.
Yeah, that's just a little bit sharper than what you're used to week in, week out, of course, because they're quality players. But I just think that they're starting to.
I'll tell you what, Leipzig just go long, and it almost works, and it might, because it falls edge of the box, and it's a block.
Jens,
brilliant. By Moritz Jens. I'll tell you what, Leipzig just went long. It shows you how able teams in this competition are to mix it up. Just a ball over the top. Greg Taylor couldn't get back, and when it fell on the edge of the box, the shot was blocked. So Celtic are looking a bit vulnerable here. They still look like they can get up the pitch, but can they keep the door closed any longer, or for much longer, Mark?
Again, I think they're fortunate Jens is in the right position there just to slide across and block that, because when that goal opened up, fell to Werner, you fancied him to put that away. But one ball, I mean, willing runners, always get you up the pitch. This team can pick a diagonal pass. They've shown that. And the pass,
that was the
goalkeeper. but that's another opportunity. It's a great first touch.
It's a great block, Mark. Let's be honest here. What a block that is.
Heart's going the right way, you've got to say that. So maybe he would have got it, but
here you go, Gordon. Here is your change. It's Georgios Giacomakis, the man who got the winner in Perth at the weekend. Can he do the same this evening? It's a nice pass, Abada. I just don't think Taylor quite gambled enough at getting inside the full back.
I think a lot of Celtic fans right now will be shouting at the
how good
TV
is that?
to keep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're in trouble now.
Oh, that is wonderful. The chest control wide. Matt O'Reilly had to get it right, and he does.
Oh, what a tackle.
He would have been sent off.
What a tackle.
Guaranteed sent off if he got that wrong, Mark.
Well, has he been booked yet?
I thought he got booked early on, O'Reilly, no?
No, I think he got away with
sorry,
that.
It was who was the one that took a while?
Hatate.
Sorry. You might have stopped me when I kept banging on about that for the last 5-10 minutes.
I thought you were talking about his first booting. But what a tackle that is, because Silva's away, he gets round the side, and Silva's bearing down the Celtic back four. That's where you want your deepest line midfielder to do a job for you.
Mark, he's done that. Everyone's talking about, can he do the defensive thing? Can he do the Callum McGregor? He has.
What a pass.
Here's Hatate, edge of the box.
He's letting that spin one.
Losing count of how many times he's been robbed, Gordon. He has had on the ball a tough night.
I think second half he's had a real bad start to the second half. Gordon's getting caught picking the wrong options as they come forward. It's a good block again. I think Celtic defensively have
done well. Yeah,
they've been much better.
Yeah.
See, when it gets to that position, the edge of the box, the full backs have narrowed, the centre halves have been in the right position, and they've defended those situations very, very well, because Leipzig are clever at picking those little passes. Tati, he does great there, but I'm thinking he's just trying to get it away.
Kyogo goes down. Is that going to be
Kyogo does him a real favour there, doesn't he?
Oh wow, the referee says no. That's got to be a free kick, does it not?
Well,
I thought that was a free kick all day. He shoves him. Yeah, it's a free kick.
That's incredible.
Come on.
The referees.
You can see the hand goes clearly onto
Kyogo's back there.
The flat palm onto the back, right on Kyogo's shirt number.
Well,
wow. These are big changes for Celtic.
Triple.
Aaron Moy, David Turnbull, and Georgios Giacomakis are coming off.
Kyogo
and O'Reilly, possibly. No,
I wouldn't take O'Reilly off. No chance.
Is it two midfielders, or is Haksabanovic going to go out wide?
Haksabanovic may, yeah.
Well, Maeda forces the goalkeeper into putting that out of play. Just at the edge of the box. That's good pressing.
You had major concerns about Aaron Moy's cameo against St Johnstone at the weekend.
Yeah.
He's now going to come on to take on RB Leipzig.
Kyogo's
going off. He's gutted.
No, he's not happy. Let me tell you that.
He is not happy at all.
Yeah.
And so is Hatate going off as well.
I think that's the right call, with Hatate being caught in the ball far too many times in this second half. Kyogo just doesn't look himself.
And it's Haksabanovic that goes off.
Yeah, he's kept Maeda on for the work going back the way for the full back.
But again,
I can understand
he's also just pressed the goalie into putting one out, so the pressing does work both ways.
Yeah. I think Haksabanovic first half I thought he played
good,
well. But big night for Aaron Moy.
And David Turnbull, Mark, he's not played a lot of football recently. Tonsillitis. Went away with Scotland, had to pull out the squad, didn't feature at all, then missed those games, like we said, with tonsillitis for Celtic. So all of a sudden.
But the one thing, you've got with Turnbull's quality when it comes on, you're going to get that. He might be a wee bit off it fitness wise because he's missed a lot of football, but he's somebody that can change a game. Moy, is a big night, because I don't think he's set the head of the light since he came to Celtic. It looks like, I said at the weekend, that he doesn't fit this model that Ange Postecoglou plays. But
is it the fact he's not really up to the speed of the rest of them, Mark? Is that what you're trying to say here?
Well, he has. Well, you can't keep saying that in October about players that they're not up to speed.
They train every day, wasn't he?
But they still train every day. He's been about the squad. He's played the Champions League before. When he's on the pitch,
how many full 90 minutes has he had since he came to Celtic?
Well, there's a reason for that. He's not been good enough to break into a team.
65 gone, still Scotland women 0, Republic of Ireland 0. So doable. They still need to win by 3.
Good play.
Brilliant by Maeda. Really good play down the left, and then the quality that's just not there.
That's why. Do you know something? It must be a nightmare for a manager, because you're thinking there's no quality going forward, but he's brilliant at going and running and closing. And look at that.
I don't understand why he doesn't take that on and keep running.
When you're so good at running.
Even if that ball is perfect, I'm not so sure James Forrest is making that up either. But it's great pressing. By the way, Giacomakis comes on, he's made an instant impact. You know, the ball's up to him, he flicks it on. Leipzig defenders have got something different to worry about now. It's going to be an interesting 20 odd minutes left in this game.
It better be a goal.
I know. What was it? You said 3-2, I said 2-2.
I have bumped this game right up. I've enjoyed it. Tactically, wow. I've enjoyed it.
What a long pass that is from Leipzig, and here they go, they're cutting through Celtic, and even when the pass is not perfect, they almost get there and it goes out of play. They look they look so dangerous, Mark, albeit they've not also found their cutting edge.
Yeah, what's happened here?
I think the offside flag does go up about 15 minutes late.
Go up, that old late shout. But you know what I like? Timo Werner, the positions he takes up. You know, he doesn't stick to out wide. As soon as that ball goes to a fullback, he picks up a wee hole that's hard for Celtic to pick up. You know, O'Reilly's never going to pick him up because he's too far in behind him. The fullback's never going to come out, and it's got him into good positions. But they've just not got that final pass into a tee yet.
I've got to be honest, man. Every time we see Celtic play, we talk about the excitement of their midfield players, their wide players. I think their defenders have done brilliant.
Well, they're going to have to work here because Leipzig are in, and it's scooped over the bar.
Is that my player?
Simican does brilliant there. I wonder if Greg Taylor might have got a tackle in before he cut inside. I did think Simican was going to hit it first time. Cuts inside, left foot 8 yards out, and he's put it over the bar.
I think Taylor's a bit hesitant. They might give something away there, Mark. He's taking a little chance, and lucky enough it fell on his weaker foot.
Good pass, Greg Taylor. Miscontrol from Aaron Moy, but eventually it sort of works out for him into the box, and it's slid past the post by Maeda. It probably was a tough chance. Comes at him first time, and he just misses the target.
Yeah, tough chance, but he'll be a wee bit disappointed that maybe never hit the target there got. I don't think that's as tough as what you make it. I think with a bit of quality you're hitting the target. I'm not saying you're scoring, I think you're working the goalkeeper.
Me looking at it from my point of view, that's hard for me. That would have been very difficult. Maeda's a forward though, so Daz might be right. Could have worked the goalkeeper. Nice little opening though for Celtic. Moy actually does well in the wide area to cut that back.
Bit of miscommunication. Carter Vickers dropped in, and I think he told O'Reilly to go wide. It didn't happen. And quite a few times tonight Carter Vickers has been sort of scrambling back. Gordon, you don't see him.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's
another chance.
Yeah, he's been caught out of position a few times, Carter Vickers, but I still think the back four and the goalkeepers had a couple of good.
Well, the only thing is here, Nkunku thinks he should have had a penalty.
No, I'm not having that.
Take a look.
No chance. No. Play on, ref. I really do. They're coming up against a good side, good movement. Mark touched on it. Their movement's very, very good. They've got good quality. I think they've defended brilliantly tonight, Celtic, so far.
Referee's quite lenient, Mark. I mean, certainly when it comes to
Silva. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, easy save for Joe Hart in the end. When it comes to physical contact, not so much people flying into tackles, but when people are going into the back of others, or he seems to let quite a lot go.
Well, we're used to seeing the opposite, aren't we, in the European stage? But yeah, you're right. Kyogo had one. I think Leipzig had one when Maeda pressed into the corner.
Here goes James Forrest down the right. He's been quite quiet since he came on. It's a good ball. Goalie misses it, and Greg Taylor head it back into an area. Just eventually cleared by Leipzig, and it's a bit of a mistake, that one from Juranovic. It looked quite simple. It looked like the ball was going to come into his control. And now Celtic are struggling. You can see Aaron Moy working hard to get back, and there we are at Leipzig, not quite on the right page.
I think the strength of Carter Vickers there as well. I mean, that's what Celtic missed physically. Whoever it was it Nkunku made the run, he just holds strong and discourages him from running into that channel. But the game is stretched now.
Stretched.
I think it was great play with Forrest down that right wing. For once decided to take on the full back. Lovely ball in. Just a bit unlucky, but that's encouraging. Get the ball out to him, get the wide men, get in behind, because you know that if you put decent balls in there, Giacomakis he's going to attack that. He's going to cause him problems.
Yeah, better from James Forrest. I'm not sure what Juranovic is.
Juranovic is actually looking away there. Yeah, and O'Reilly needed a pass just to bounce off, and he switched off totally.
Oh,
nice fouled him.
Celtic fans thought that was going to go the other way.
Are we getting a winner here, do you think?
We got a goal.
Sorry?
Better get a goal.
I just
said the word goal.
I did.
I think he's starting to malfunction.
I did.
These late shows.
I started muttering a little bit there.
Don't you know what your boyfriend was?
Get out of there.
He's back. There he is. He's back alive.
Oh dear.
Just what anyone wants to hear. Is that your party piece?
No, I don't even know why I sang it.
It's very sharp from Leipzig in the middle of the pitch, and they've even let it. Oh, Joe Hart comes out.
Oh,
careful.
No. Is it a penalty?
No,
says the referee. And Kunku,
he's certainly looking for it.
Does the old eyes wide, can't believe it. Marco Rosa thinks as well. I mean, they'll look at it, won't they?
If you look at the way the ball goes, I wonder if it's
Looks
Joe
like
Hart that gets a touch on it. Oh, maybe not.
And there's a goal for the Republic of Ireland. Scotland's World Cup hopes look to be over, I'm afraid.
Does
Joe Hart get enough on that?
That's hard to call.
I don't think that's a penalty kick.
That's hard to call.
Yeah.
VAR potential penalty check for RB Leipzig.
You know, Manston's thought was that Joe Hart had to be careful. The pace in Kunku always looked like
he looked second favourite to get there, Joe Hart.
I don't think he's given that.
Nah, I think it's over, is it? Check over, no penalty.
He's not giving that. I think that's
check
a correct
over.
decision.
There we go.
How quick is that though? From Nkunku to get onto that.
Yeah, Joe Hart looked second favourite, so fair play to him. He obviously got enough on it to satisfy the officials.
So far you've got to say Joe Hart's had a good night. I know he's come in. He's come in for a bit of criticism, but he showed he's a good goalkeeper.
So just to recap that, Amber Barrett's put Republic of Ireland 1 up. Scotland need to score 5, I've lost count, 4 in the next 18 minutes. So I don't think so somehow, but surprise us if you can, that would be lovely. In the meantime, is it looking more likely that Celtic concede than score?
Yes, for
it's
me
on
just
a knife
now.
edge for me.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. I think that the two teams have got
Leipzig have done it, and it's Timo Werner. 75 minutes gone. Celtic 0, RB Leipzig 1. You did sense it was coming. Gordon might not have, but the cut back headed in by Timo Werner runs off to the corner to celebrate with the Leipzig fans. And all of a sudden, Celtic's chances in this group are up in the air and then some, because Shakhtar Donetsk are beating Real Madrid. Celtic are now losing at home to RB Leipzig.
Well, Mark just highlighted his movement, Gordon. He just holds himself there at the edge of the box. It's a great ball in. Timing of the
what a header it is as well.
The header, Joe Hart's absolute no chance. They get in behind Celtic's back line. Great ball cut back. He just places that header beyond Joe Hart. Joe Hart's absolutely no chance of that. It's a terrific header. You guys were saying it. I thought it was a sort of a 50-50 a little bit, but the goal was coming.
Yeah, no, listen, there's no doubt Leipzig have been in top and the better team this second half. And the quality, you could just see it was getting better as this second half is wore on. Werner holds his run. Now, this is in no relation to my argument earlier, but one of the midfielders has got to track him. He's got to get closer, because the back four is square on. Jens is square on. Maybe he could have stepped out, but you have got to get goal side of Werner. You can't just hope that he misses that chance. And it's well tucked away. So incredibly difficult. Ange Postecoglou has rolled the dice already. And
the funny thing is, you're talking about extra midfield players, you're talking about defensive a little bit, and yet they've got 3 midfield players on the pitch.
But my point is, they're all looking at Werner. They're all looking at him rather than being goal side him.
It's individual responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before that,
it's nothing to do with shape. No. Yeah. So take that out of the argument.
You've got
Celtic had more men back there than they've had on a lot of the defensive actions that they've had in the game. So, but that's it. Eventually, we keep talking about it. You need that moment of quality. You need to take your chances. Celtic have passed theirs up. Leipzig have had chances of their own. They take one. It's a pretty similar story.
See, in the second half, I think Ange Postecoglou a bit disappointed. They've dominated most of the game.
Yep.
Especially second half. I thought Celtic first half would have went in there full of encouragement, just looking for that final touch. But They've found spaces that Mark said it. Their movement and finding spaces are brilliant. They're very, very, very good. They're
who was it? Cut it back. Was it Silva? Cut it back. And again, I sound like a broken record. At this level, the forward players have that bit of quality that they can just take time. Now in this second half alone, we've seen James Forrest in a good position in the right. We've seen Maeda the opposite in the left, and wasteful in the final third.
That's great better. Ball, David Turnbull. It's just
great
hacked
defending.
Away. Yeah, good defending. Aaron Moy's going to get a go at it. Nice
good,
ball
that's
outside
a good ball
of the
as well.
boot. So Celtic not done by any means. As it falls to Greg Taylor, edge of the box. He works one in. I don't know why Riley doesn't shoot. He does in the end. It's tipped away by the goalkeeper. Do not foul on the edge of the box. But that's better from Celtic.
Too straight.
Yeah,
he's right down the goalkeeper's throat, as we say.
He needs the extra touch. Is that to get it back on his left?
It's to get it back on his favourite left foot.
I still think he has enough of the goal to aim at there, not to just put it down the goalkeeper's throat there. I mean, that's kind of been the story for Celtic, that the chances that they have created was a fantastic pass.
Ball that is.
Great defending.
Brilliant, yeah.
Great defending from Carter Vickers there, because Nkunku looked like he was in a devastating break again from
Carter
Leipzig.
Vickers is so strong. He wants Nkunku to hold him, Mark, so that he can just shrug him off.
Away. Yeah, he's a big lad, but he does great there, because that would have put the game to bed. But now here comes Celtic, the other side. Moy, that's a good opportunity for a Riley.
I've got to say, that's one of the best balls I've seen for a long while, and Carter Vickers really covered the ground, and that was danger. But what a pass it was from the middle of the park. That is quality of the highest level for me.
But Celtic still coming at it. They have been fine attacking wise until they get to the edge of that box. That's where it breaks down, and haven't managed to keep the back door shut. For a long time it looked like.
Great
Here
ball.
It comes in the ball. What a miss. What a miss from Georgios Giakoumakis. He felt he was fouled. Referees having none of it. And you just wonder how many chances Celtic are going to miss. It is brilliant from Forrest into the box. Giakoumakis just doesn't throw himself at it, Gordon.
Yeah, I think he is getting. I think
his left hand has been pulled,
look,
Mark.
I think the defender's been naughty there. I think that.
Will they check that? No.
Yeah, they tend to check most things. Yeah,
they've got to check that. I think they're in with a shout here.
No, it's a substitution. They're not in with much.
Maybe they're not in with a shout. Yeah, shout at Bernabei coming on. That's who they're in the shout with.
Bernabei's coming on for Maeda. I think. Yeah, Dalziel and Maeda. So that's.
I can only think that it's for a bit of quality, maybe in the final third on his left foot.
Yeah, just put one forward.
Take away Giakoumakis being pulled back. I think he should still burst the net there. I think that's a magnificent ball.
I mean, the defender clearly is holding Giakoumakis' left hand. It didn't flash up that there was a VAR check, so I don't know for sure. I know they're meant to check all penalty incidents.
I'm going to say he does enough to put him off. Put it that way. I'd be claiming for that as well. I really would have. You could see the intention. He's got him there. I think that's the difference with him putting that ball in the back of the net or not.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I think at that pace and movement and that ball coming in.
I'll tell you what. See I'm going on your assessment, not mine. On your assessment, if that's a foul, it's probably a red card as well. Because if it's a hold, then it wouldn't be. How can that be classed as a genuine attempt to play the ball? You know,
I think the defender's been a bit sneaky. I think he gets away with one. He takes a chance.
But like I say, I'm based that on your assessment that it is a foul in the first place. It's brilliant from Celtic into the box, cut back, and Giakoumakis' shot is blocked. Why does Aaron Moy not shoot?
Oh, I've no idea, Gordon. I have no idea why they're trying to score the perfect goal in that situation. Moy's in a terrific position. They've worked it brilliantly. Just put your laces through it. At worst, the goalkeeper parries and somebody puts it in. A brilliant ball, reverse pass for O'Reilly. Moy's in. You know what? He doesn't even look at the goal.
No.
Not once does he look at the goal. He's looking to square that right away. And it's another chance. Another one that goes a begging for Celtic. And you look at the attempts.
I'm with you, Mark. I don't know why he doesn't take that to the side of your body and whip it across. He either gets a goal or a goalkeeper parries.
It's a bit like the right hand side version of Greg Taylor's in the first half.
100%.
I think it's an even better opportunity because Taylor's swivelling almost and he's coming on it.
Yeah,
he should hit that.
Especially now, Mark, I'm not saying you abandon everything, but 82 gone, you fancy maybe, putting your foot through it rather than trying to be intricate early in the game. Maybe it's a bit more tempting.
Yeah, no, listen,
great
100%.
run, Burnaby, really good run. Here's Juranovic, we know he can hit them, but it's blocked at the edge of the box. Leipzig put themselves in good areas. Not great from Juranovic either, by the way.
Well, that was the time not to shoot. I think he should have just kept that ball moving wide. And look, Celtic run out of time. They've reacted actually well to the goal. They've actually, kicked on. They're taking the game to Leipzig again. They've created a couple of chances. They should have at least taken one of them. And it's the same old story again for Ange Postecoglou. What else can he say after the game? Then he's already said it against Leipzig, against Shakhtar, against Real Madrid the first half. It's a hard one to put your finger on, how they can't take chances in games like this.
Yeah, but if you narrow the game down to the second half, I think they've been far a better side.
But this is a good spell for Celtic, isn't it?
Yeah, but I agree. When Moyk is in there now, you're not telling me he's one of these guys that pass it. He's scored goals throughout his career from outside the box with terrific hits. He's got to put his laces through that for me.
I think the Juranovic, the O'Reilly one, Mark, as well, when he does well to put it on his left foot, and although it's tight and easy for us to say, is there not just a simple side foot low pass into the corner available?
I thought so, yeah.
And here come Leipzig again, and this might be the end of it, and it is. Celtic 0, RB Leipzig 2, and that is clinical Champions League football. Celtic have had a good spell, they've created a few chances, and as quick as a flash it's pretty much over. It's Celtic 0, RB Leipzig 2.
I think when you look at this goal back, and it is a brilliant goal from the visitors, let's not take anything away from them. I'm looking at Juranovic. I think, can he do better here as a defender? But when that ball comes into the middle of the park, into the middle of the box, what a you're talking about Riley side foot. There's a difference. Bang, side foot, top of the net. Is it not? No, it's not offside. But I think,
yeah, Juranovic does get caught under it a bit, Mark, you have to say. But that from Forsberg's unbelievable. That as an initial opening, that's no better a chance than anything Celtic have had. Yet his touch eliminates two people and his finish is deadly. That's the difference. It's the quality in the final third.
It is quality. I mean, his first touch is incredible, just to kill that, and the finish is just as good.
How quick? What's the gap between first touch and second touch finish? It's quick as a flash. That's
a talent, Gordon. Not every professional footballer can do that. That's magnificent. Joe Hart would be probably looking to set himself, and the ball was in the back of the net. It's that quick. Brilliant feet, terrific. That's the difference. They've been punished, Celtic.
Giacomakis is in here. I don't know if he's. And it's a huge chance. If that doesn't come back, that's Celtic's biggest chance of the lot. I think lots of people were expecting a foul on the centre back. But here come David Turnbull, and his shot just goes dipping over the bar as well. Celtic do continue to press, do continue to get sights at goal, but it's just not there. It is not happening in front of goal. And we're going to see this back. Like we said, Matt, well, he would have been offside anyway.
Offside, yeah, and it's not a foul.
He still could have done with sticking it away.
Yeah, it's another chance. Goes a begging again. It would have been offside, but still,
Turnbull just fires one over.
Yeah, Turnbull. How many times you've seen him hitting the target from there? A lot as well. Their finishing throughout this campaign has been abysmal. Let's be honest. We can pick holes in every other part of defending and the midfield and argument, but you don't take your chances.
It's finished at Tannadice. Let's get a quick picture from Dave Galloway.
Yeah, Dundee United 1, Hibs 0. What a match here tonight in a fast-paced first half, and that's putting it very mildly. Play flowed from end to end like a basketball match. United went ahead after 11 minutes with a very well-worked goal. Behic linked up with McGrath and scored with a terrific outside of the foot finish. Hibs thought they'd equalise when Kuharevich netted after Ewan helped the ball on, but it was disallowed for offside to Lee Johnson's fury. There was no let up after the interval for United. Watts couldn't quite connect when Smith fizzed a drive right across the goal, and Middleton had a deflected effort that went narrowly wide. But Hibs really turned the screw, really turned up the pressure. Kuharevich was clean through after Sybil's slack back pass, however he somehow fired wide from 12 yards, and they missed another big chance when Boyle volleyed wildly mildly over after a long throw was flicked onto him. The visitors enjoying the lion's share of possession, and a brilliant bicycle kick from Kuharevic on the edge of the penalty box following another long throw was magnificently tipped over by Eriksson. United had to withstand so much second half pressure, but they stood firm to move off the bottom of the Premiership table. Dundee United 1, Hibs 0.
Wow, what a couple of days it's been for your old team, Dundee United. Mark Wilson off the bottom, and all of a sudden that league is looking extremely tight once again.
Yeah, well done to United, well done to Liam Fox, and it's a big couple of weeks for him, and he's answered some of the critics or some of the sceptics who thought he wasn't the right man for the job with 2 outstanding wins. He just needs to keep building on that. I think United have got a great squad, really good squad, underachieved in this opening quarter of the season, but they're on the up.
Yeah, and the big game on Saturday weekend, they're away to Ross County. That'll be an absolute cracker.
More concerning for Celtic, Mark, I'm just thinking that unlikely won't happen scenario that Andrew McLean spoke about. Are Celtic about to finish bottom of this group tonight? Is it nailed on?
It's looking likely. It certainly is looking likely. I mean, Shakhtar still leading, we believe, are they?
Not finish bottom, but won't can't progress. Can't progress. Leipzig are going on to 6 points.
It was my opinion that they had to win this anyway if they had any aspirations of progressing in the Champions League. Third place, if they didn't. But with Shakhtar winning, what's that? That takes them to 7, Leipzig to 6,
and Celtic on 1. So Celtic would need to. So even finishing third would be unlikely, but it would still be possible.
Here again.
Yeah, it could be trouble. Leipzig are in. They've got 4 men against Celtic's 3. Eventually Aaron Moy comes back in, and a couple of others. But again, it could have been so different for Celtic, but there's no point in saying that every single week. Eventually need to start winning some football matches. David Turnbull, I think, blocks it with his chest or his stomach. And Leipzig look hungry for a third, you have to say, Mark.
They look the most likely. I thought Celtic reacted well to the first goal. The second goal, again, as much in the Madrid game, just knocked the stuff in it. Oh,
Giakoumakis does brilliant though. Holds it up and rides a couple of challenges, and Moy gives it to Forrest, but Giakoumakis just can't sort his feet out. That's maybe the difference. You see how quickly Forsberg sorted out his feet, Gordon.
Yeah, you're just it's a step up in class. But I thought it was a good move with Celtic. I thought Forrest picked the right pass out. He was stretching there. He just couldn't get a hold of it. It's just not been Celtic's night in front of goals. But take nothing away from Leipzig. We can talk about some of the chances. I think the second half they've been excellent. Really have been excellent. The way they've controlled the ball, their movement, their passing, and obviously 2 very good goals.
I think, Mark, as well, like the reason they won't be overly concerned with how many times Celtic get to come forward is because they've got the faith that when the chances do fall their way, they take them. This looks like it's going to be another comfortable scoreline. That doesn't mean they've dominated all the game, or they haven't given Celtic chances, or Celtic haven't created chances. Celtic don't at the moment, because we've now got a good sample. This is the 4th game. Celtic don't have players that are clinical at the Champions League level by the looks of it.
And that's the most important bit in any football match, is scoring goals to win it. And Celtic have fell short in these group stages of that. I mean, nothing really wrong in terms of creativity and movement and rotation, or whatever way you want to call the build-up play. It's just the final piece of the jigsaw they've struggled with, and these teams don't, because they've got an Kunku, they've got a Werner, they've
Forsberg
got
off the bench.
Yeah, Forsberg who does it in the top level all the time. That's why they're top level players. And look, I'm not having a bash at our league, but that's why they're not playing in our league. Some of these players, they're playing in the Bundesliga and will go into the Premier League in England.
Juranovic has gone into the book. Celtic fans, don't forget, you can get in touch and let us know how you feel after this. The chances of progressing are about to be over. Even the chances of finishing third slipping away, you have to say. So it looks like it will be defeat tonight. Only 2 of the 3 minutes remaining, and you can get in touch at full time on the usual number and let us know how you saw it. 01419511025.
Yeah, I think there'll be a few disappointed Celtic fans, Gordon. Yeah, they'll touch on the chances once again. You just wonder, is it decision making at that level? The wrong decisions? You look at Kyogo's header, for instance.
Well, if you look at Taylor and Moy, that's decision making, those two.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. O'Reilly, Does he need the extra touch?
Yeah.
You see their quality. They just control and bang right away. The goalkeeper doesn't even get time to set. You're just going up a level all the time. You've got to be a bit quick in front of goals, and I think Celtic are just getting caught a little bit short. Look, nothing up with their play, because you can argue the point. They've had a goal, they've created chances. You know, at times they've played good football, especially in the first half. But second half, I think this team's just come out, upped it a little bit, and they look just that step above just now.
We said before the game, Mark, if you get your big moments right, there is an alternate universe here where Celtic play this Champions League group, create nowhere near the number of chances that they have, but get much more points than they have. Do you see what I mean? In terms of, how many games of football do you see where you don't create that much, but you take, one or two of your chances? Like I say, there's a scenario here where Celtic performance level, because it's not getting them anything. You could easily have performed much worse, but ended up with more points. Antonio Rudiger has scored a 95th minute equaliser.
Told you, if I had my last pound, I said Real Madrid. That's a small victory for me tonight. I'll take it up the road. Thank you. But it depends. Is that his finish? Yeah.
Finished at Celtic Park. Andrew McLean.
Leipzig 2, the full time score. Celtic left to rue. Some great first half chances. Leipzig clinical in the end, and it looks as if Shakhtar are avoiding defeat against Real Madrid tonight. So that means if it stays that way, Ange Postecoglou's side officially can't make the Champions League knockout stages. Celtic had a big opportunity within a minute as well. Leila Bada's cross finding Dalziel and Mark at the edge of the 6-yard box. The ball was slightly behind him. He could only direct that header over the bar. Around 15 minutes in, Leipzig had one of their impressive counter-attacks. It was Nkunku and Werner using the pace to get them up the park. Nkunku crossed for Haidara. Matt O'Reilly with a really good block on that occasion. Then Celtic with a really good prolonged spell of pressure where they should have scored. They hit the woodwork twice in a matter of seconds. The ball worked to Matt O'Reilly at the edge of the box from a corner. He hit the post, then it came out to Greg Taylor. He then struck the bar from the rebound. Then another fantastic chance when Kyogo headed over from the centre of the box. That was from a Sead Haksabanovic cross. Joe Hartland had to make two saves with his feet either side of half time. The first came from Christopher Nkunku's drilled effort, and the second from centre back Willie Orban, who found himself in space inside the box. The second one was during a real spell of Leipzig pressure at that point, where they pinned Celtic back for a while, but they were unable to test Joe Hart too much at that point. Maida and Simakan both then missed the target at either end from decent positions before Leipzig went and got a goal with 15 minutes left to go. Andre Silva's cross turned in by a really good Timo Werner header. Joe Hart had absolutely no chance with that one. Celtic pushed for an instant equaliser, but Matt O'Reilly could only shoot straight at the Leipzig goalkeeper. Then Yorgos Giacomakis really should have scored when James Forrest's cross found him at the back post. He was being held, but he couldn't find the back of the net. A good spell for Celtic, but they were punished right at the death in an instant. Timo Werner taking the ball down well in the box. He cut it back to Emil Forsberg, and he arrowed a shot into the top corner for 2-0. And just going to check the score between Shakhtar and Real Madrid as well, because in injury time it was 1-1 between the sides. I can't quite see whether that one's finished or not at the moment, but if it has finished 1-1, which was the score at the time, it would mean there's no Champions League for Celtic after Christmas. They would have to settle for a battle for third place. The full-time score at Celtic Park is Celtic 0, RB Leipzig 2.
What did you make of that, Celtic fans? 01419511025. We could probably play back some of the comments from previous weeks. There were good bits, there were chances created, but it didn't amount to anything, and it's still 0 points on the night, 1 point overall, bottom of Group F. 0141 951 1025. Briefly, Gordon DL, how would you sum it up whilst the callers get in touch?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Celtic manager, hands in the head. He'll be disappointed. I thought first half, a lot of encouragement, chances that they should actually score with Gordon. I think they passed up in a few, and the game went longer. Leipzig just grew into it. They showed their class, and some of their finishing was absolutely brilliant tonight. You've got to say that. Overall, second half, I thought the visitors deserved the victory.
Have to agree. Look, these games that Celtic have played in this Champions League have all followed the same pattern, and that's quite unusual. That you create so many chances. Usually at this level it's difficult to create chances. Well, they've not had that problem. It's putting the ball away and keeping the door shut at the back. And some would argue, certainly me, is the worst you get there. The worst you get is a 0-0 at home, if you can. And then you blame your strikers. But a combination of both in the Champions League leads to only one way, and that's out the competition.
Come on then, Celtic fans, how do you feel after that? It certainly wasn't the night you had envisaged, I'm sure. 01419511025. We'll take your calls next. We're here until 11.
This is Celtic versus RB Leipzig. The Old Firm in Europe's big league. This is Clyde One's Super Scoreboard. Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Taggart's Jaguar, part of the Lookers family. Click and Drive, the simple contactless way to buy a car. Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Taggart's Volvo. The Volvo new car sale event ends soon. Purchase a mild hybrid Volvo from the XC range and get your first 3 services for only $399. Taggart's, part of the Lookers family. This is Celtic versus RB Leipzig. The Old Firm in Europe's big league. This is Clyde One's Super Scoreboard.
Celtic 0, Leipzig 2, Shakhtar Donetsk 1, Real Madrid 1. The scores from Group F, which means Celtic bottom on 1 point. Third place is Shakhtar Donetsk on 5, Leipzig on 6, and topping the group Real Madrid on 10. So Celtic have a lot of work to do. It's now looking extremely difficult, and that's probably being kind. So what did you make of it, Celtic fans? 01419511025. Where did it go wrong? And how do you feel about the group overall? Let's bring in Sean and Denison first. Sean, how do you feel?
Hi Gordon, the other Gordon and Mark, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Best guys in the panel, by the way.
Well, listen,
Sean,
Sean, I don't know how much they paid you to say that, Sean, so we'll pretend that never happened. What about your team tonight?
Just pretty disappointed, Gordon. It's just a different Celtic that stepped out against Real Madrid. They look tired now. I don't know, the intensity is not there anymore. They're creating these chances. We need to score goals, or exactly what's happening now will happen. We'll end up finishing bottom of the league. I don't know. I'm not sure if we get into the conference. I'm not quite sure how it works finishing. But no, not
if you finish bottom. Finish third, you would drop into the Europa League.
And it's Maeda. He's looking like a different player as well. It's looking like a different team compared to the team that came out against Real Madrid. There's no intensity there. It's just watching a different team again.
The Super Scoreboard podcast is sponsored by Taggart's Motor Group. Taggart's have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. And as Taggart's are part of the Lookers family, one of the largest franchise dealer groups in the UK, you can browse thousands of nearly new and used vehicles in stock nationwide to find your perfect vehicle. They've also launched Click and Sell. It makes selling your car simple by using their trusted dealer network of over 150 sites. Why not give it a go today? See how much you could make on your old car. Taggart's have Land Rover showrooms in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showrooms found in Hillington. Check out taggarts.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now let's get back to the podcast. Mark, is that fair?
No, not really. I would disagree with Sean that I thought the intensity was there in periods in the first half. Thought Celtic created, it started well in the opening minutes, but were pinned back by Leipzig. But I think from about 25 minutes on, Celtic had a real good spell where they created a couple of chances, and when you concede a goal, I think it's always going to zap a bit out your legs. Funny enough, I thought Celtic had picked up again. The second goal, then people do look tired because you look like you're desperate. You often are desperate. But the intensity and the pace that Ange Postecoglou wants these guys to play at, it is difficult to keep that up against these quality sides when they're popping it about you. It's always going to come back to the same in this group stage for Celtic. At the top end of the pitch, something that has not failed them since Ange Postecoglou's time has failed them in this group stage. The killer touch, the final piece of the jigsaw, whatever you want to call it. simple enough chances for these players, they're failing to take.
Over the piece, Gordon, Vol had a crack at it. I feel, Abada's missed chances in previous games. Greg Taylor and Aaron Moy had two of Celtic's better chances tonight. Matt O'Reilly, we've spoken about the Kyogo and Maeda, etc. It feels like everybody's passing up these chances.
We can strip this game right down for hours, Gordon. We can talk about tactics, we can talk about players, we can talk about everything. For me, the difference is they're clinical. You see their 2 goals tonight, their movement. First one, header, Joe Hart, no chance. Second one is brilliant. I love seeing that touch. He's hit that before. Joe Hart, who's was an international goalkeeper with England, didn't even have a chance to set himself. The ball's in the back of the net. There lies the difference. Now you can criticise the attacking style, you can criticise maybe the midfield, you can criticise a lot. Celtic created chances, didn't put the ball in the back of the net. They were clinical. They punished Celtic.
Yeah, Mark, it's interesting because any game of football, there's always going to be a number of factors. It's never just one thing. People like to tell themselves that it's just that, and if we fix that, everything would be different. That's never the case. However, you obviously can't win football matches if you don't take your chances. I mean, come on, talking about statements of the obvious here. Celtic have 1 goal in this competition and should have scored a lot more.
Yeah. Now, especially the way Ange Postecoglou has set out his stall since he's came to this club. And Frank and I had a discussion earlier where Frank says that's the way he's going to play, that's the way we want to see Celtic play. That's fine. So you got to get the other side, you've got to get one side right, because if you're going to be so open going forward, you better take your chances, and you better take more chances than the opposition. Because if we go over the stats against Leipzig, against Real Madrid, Shakhtar to a lesser extent in the first half, they've had some chances against Celtic and could have scored more as well. So you better bet or hope that your strikers take chances.
Created tonight, Mark, Celtic will probably have maybe more chances than what Leipzig had. I get back to it. Are roughly the same. Similar, okay. But I get back to it, right? The difference is they're clinical. They put the ball in the back of the net. It's as simple as that. Celtic don't.
Sean, what else then? I mean, in terms of individuals, there's a lot to get through. Were there any positives in there? Was there anything you liked about it? And if not, who annoyed you?
No, I wouldn't say anyone annoyed me. It's just a bit frustrating watching, and then you've got Giakoumakis who's scoring a last minute winner, and he's sitting on the bench coming on when we're towards the end of the game. You're like, why can they not mix it up a bit? Try Giakoumakis and Kyogo up front instead of just the same tactic all the time. And teams will adapt it. Teams will learn to know how you play and stuff. So I think maybe a wee change, but you can tell. And with Maeda as well, Maeda just he looked shattered. He looked tired most of the game. I would say Greg Taylor done most of his work. But all that, I just don't. I understand what Mark was saying about the 25-minute mark stuff. We did have a lot of positives, but I wouldn't say we hit them the way we hit Real Madrid.
Mark, again though, this is where we're always going to keep coming around in circles to an extent, because Sean says, if it's not working, try something different, which makes perfect sense. That is a statement that you hear a lot in football. Why not try Kyogo and Giakoumakis together? However, that sounds to me like something you would do if you weren't creating the chances. Does that make? Do you see the distinction there? Yeah. By having Kyogo and Giakoumakis play, does that really make you take chances in a way that you're not doing previously?
I suppose you would do that if you felt you weren't getting enough bodies into the box, that you needed an extra striker in there. But you're right, Gordon, the argument isn't that. It's when you're in those positions. I mean, look at Kyogo's head on the first half. He couldn't have more space, more time.
Giakoumakis has one to throw 5 yards out from goal, or when Greg Taylor's in, or when Aaron Moy's in. Does the fact that Kyogo and Giakoumakis aren't on together influence their finishing? Now, I know I'm being a bit facetious with that, right? But if you are creating the chances, how does tweaking the tactics help you in an attacking sense? Surely the onus falls solely on the individuals to take their chances when they come along. Of course, and they have to. Sometimes players have to take the responsibility. The manager will obviously carry the can, and he'll come out and say whatever after this game. But when players are in
positions in specific moments, big moments of the game, they have to stand up, especially your front players. It's why they get paid the big bucks. It's why they're the superstars of the team, because they take the pats in the back when they grab the limelight. So they need to take the criticism, unfortunately, when they don't, and they put their defence under severe pressure. That's what's happened throughout this qualification.
I thought the front three starting tonight were as poor as I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Maeda done all his work back the way, right? Whether that was the reason he was picked, he just worked constantly, and you can't fault the boy for that. But he gave nothing going forward. I thought Abada, until he gets substituted, apart from his first ball in, done nothing, contributed nothing. Kyogo was as poor as I've seen him. So as much as we all, talk about how good Celtic are going forward, the attacking and the pace and whatever they may be, tonight, for me, they weren't at the races, the front line.
Right, thank you to Sean. Let's bring in Stevie. How would you sum up how you're feeling, Stevie?
I'm absolutely shocked. I can't go over the way that Celtic are playing right now, especially see the Japanese players. I don't think any of them have kicked a ball. I mean, apart from Kyogo, he's never had much service, but Maeda is running about like a headless chicken. He's got the first chance of the game, and after all the criticism this week, you think that he would have upped his game. Do you know what I mean? This is the Champions League, not the Child's League. Do you know what I mean? You've got to take your chances. Any other team in that group had that many chances, they'd have won the game outright. Plus, I honestly think the referee was absolutely disgraceful tonight. Oh God, between the decisions and even their players getting done to Saf, it was just horrible. I'm just disgusted, to be honest with you.
Maeda's getting a bit of stick, which I'm not saying he doesn't deserve, Gordon. Solely on tonight, though. Was he any worse than Kyogo tonight? Does Kyogo have more goodwill in the tank? Is that why the focus goes more on Maeda, or is this an accumulation of what's been happening in previous weeks?
The only reason he was better than the other two, and I'm talking about Abada being on till 42 minutes, 43 minutes, was the fact of the work rate. Now, you'll never fault the lad for work rate, but I think if you're playing at home and you're a forward player, you've got to offer something going forward. It's okay to turn around and say, yeah, look at the work rate, look at the pressing, look at this. There's more to football than that. He's a front guy that's supposed to score goals, create chances, get in behind defenders, turn. He done more chasing the fullback that way than the fullback chased him. Now, I won't fault his effort. Hatate was off it tonight, especially second half. Wasn't surprised to get subbed. Kyogo doesn't look as sharp to me, right? I think Giakoumakis, come on, cut the opportunity, looked a threat, looked a danger, but obviously never got the goal. I thought he was a wee bit lucky at the far post. I still think that the defender was clever with him, but I just thought the front three that everybody usually talks about how good they were really off it tonight. I thought O'Reilly played very well. You can talk about the McGregor situation and O'Reilly. I thought O'Reilly played well in there. I thought he'd done his shift. I thought he worked well. He got himself involved. But at the end of the day, I thought their finishing was brilliant.
Stevie, what annoyed you about the ref?
I just thought that he gave every decision Leipzig's way. We're sitting very high up in the North Stand, and we can see fouls going in left, right and centre, and he was be giving Celtic any foul whatsoever. As soon as the ball touched one of their players, they went down like a loaf of bread. I don't understand it. The only shining lights in the whole game for Celtic were Carter Vickers, Jens, and as Gordon said, was
O'Reilly.
The O'Reilly tackle was outstanding. See that one, he went back, but we're talking about players that are playing a defensive position. That's what to be talking about, the players that are meant to be forwards and scoring. And last year they were scoring for fun. What's happened? Where's the spark? I just don't get it.
When down like a loaf of bread, that's a new one for us. I like that. I'll add that to the list.
I've noted that one.
Mark, I don't know. We in terms of sort of small incidents in play, we mentioned Kyogo probably should have got a free kick. There was a push in his back. I don't know if there was anything major. Was there?
I wonder about the penalty kick
and Giakoumakis.
The more I see it, the more I think it was a penalty. I think the defenders pulled his arm, which in turn, of course, would affect you. No doubt in my mind, Giakoumakis should still be strong enough, I feel, to score. but I think it does affect you. And when VAR's there and it's been replayed a couple of times, I just wonder what the officials, they come to.
I said from the beginning, I thought that the defender was, he got away with one for me, because you're saying, well, he still should be stronger, but when you're going in there and you've got it in your head, I'm just going to put my, and all of a sudden you're pushed to the side or tugged or pulled, all of it puts you off at that pace and the ball coming in. So I can understand that. I didn't look at the referee tonight and think it was a difference between the two teams. I thought that second half they found an extra half yard for me, more space, quality balls better, more pace about their game, and obviously clinical finishing.
I mean, bottom of the group, Stevie, even third looks like it's going to be tough. Doable, but tough. How does that feel?
Well, I mean, it's a bit thing. I honestly think that Europa, if they can even get into it, would be about our class, because we can't compete with the big players, with the big money. I mean, even that team that we're playing tonight, I mean, I think that we could have stood toe-to-toe with them, especially in the first half. I don't know what happened in the second half, but the first half we could stand toe-to-toe with them, but only for so long, it seems. And then, suddenly kick into another gear, or we lose a gear, or whatever.
Stevie, I know this won't be a hugely popular comparison, right? I get it, I know the way it works here, but I mean, Rangers beat them last year in the Europa League. What does that show? Two things: that it can be done, and secondly, that even if you're in the Europa League, that might be the level of team that you face.
Yeah, well, I can understand that, but I honestly think that, I mean, we can't compete with the big guns with the money that we get for our league. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're placed at the Champions League, to be honest with you.
I don't know where we go with this stuff, Mark, because on one hand that is undeniably true, and Kunku and all the rest of it, Celtic would love to have these players, and over the piece you're probably not going to. Tonight Shakhtar Donetsk drew with Real Madrid. I think we watched the game earlier. I can't remember. Man City, did they get held?
Yeah,
Copenhagen now, and I know
Juventus got beat 2-0 as well.
I know that City went down to 10 men and so on. There's got to at least be room, Mark.
Gordon, I'll always argue that point that's not true, purely because I experienced it. I was there. I know it's years
still
ago.
True to an extent, though. Obviously,
look, Celtic are never going to win the Champions League. Nobody's even suggesting that. Have they got enough to compete? Of course they have. But
tonight shows you that clearly it's not as if you're not watching that game and thinking, these two are from a different stratosphere here. Celtic are out their depth. That's not even been the case in any of the three games.
Yeah.
So we need to decide.
The argument was before this game that Leipzig and Shakhtar and Celtic
all had a chance.
Yeah. And that is true. But the finer moments in games, you need to prove a point in the games within the 90 minutes.
It's only the argument after a game. Nobody comes on before a game and says, I'm a Celtic fan, I'm going to Celtic Park tonight, we're not going to win because they've got better players, they've got more money to spend than us. The difference tonight, you're right, Gordon, you watch these two teams, I thought second half they played a lot better, but it was the difference in the finishing. Celtic still created chances enough to score a few goals tonight.
Even we'll get to Rangers later in the week, but even say Rangers Napoli, right? It was 3-0, but there was the penalties, there was a sending off. You still didn't watch that game and think, Rangers don't belong here. So the phrase is becoming a bit problematic for me, Mark. It might just be a personal thing. There are a lot of teams in the Champions League. What is it? 8 groups of 4? Is it 32 in the group stages? How many of them can actually go on and win it? Not many. So when people say we're not a Champions League team, what do they mean? Do they mean that we're not capable of progressing through the groups? Well, if that's the case, that applies to loads of teams.
I think it all falls into what Daz says there. It's after the game and followed quite quickly after the games were defeat. And if your team's sitting there without a win in the Champions League, people automatically jump to we're not a Champions League team. Now Celtic could go out and absolutely batter Shakhtar the next game. Does that make them then a Champions League team? Well, I always believe that Celtic have got a fighting chance in the Champions League at Celtic Park. But we need to go back to it. The way they play, you play that opening attacking, you've got to take your chances, because you are always going to concede at least one going the other way against teams like this.
Thank you to Stevie. Let's bring in Stephen, who's from Ballock. Were you at the game, Stephen?
Hi, good evening, gents. Yes, I was.
Right, how did you see it then from where you were sitting?
The story of our season in Europe so far. Don't take our chances, get punished. My main point was to the producer was Ange and not having a plan B, and how he seems to persist in making 3 changes round about the 70-minute mark. It just doesn't seem to work. And obviously having O'Reilly alongside Hatate tonight, there was no real impetus going forward or any speed whatsoever. It was very lethargic.
Mark, what do you make of that? I mean, Stephen's picking up on even Ange Postecoglou sort of always making the changes, always using the squad. Does he do it too much?
Look, I think the way he asks his players to play, especially at the front, it takes a lot out of any individual. So he's right to use his squad. I mean, Daz had mentioned that maybe it was time for Giakoumakis to come on. Kyogo wasn't like the one I think we were all puzzled at was Moy. I'm still to be convinced
does
by
that
Moy.
not contradict what you're saying then? Because in general you would get the need then to freshen things up if you're asking a shift from players. But, and I don't mean to pick on this guy, right? It's just this one example since we're on it. When a sort of must win, if you like, Champions League game is right in the balance, do you need to introduce Aaron Moy, someone who's been nothing more than a bit part player? Yeah. And again, that sounds really harsh on Aaron Moy. It's more the principle rather than the guy himself I'm talking about.
Look, it might sound harsh, but it's true. You're bang on, because I wonder how many Celtic fans would have looked at Moy coming on and thought, I tell you that's what we need right now, because he showed it in this game and he showed glimpses in that game. Well, he's not.
Would you have said the same when he went through in his right peg and instead of squaring it,
he should have scored.
He puts one in the back of the net. You wouldn't say the same.
But he didn't. You're just making up something that didn't happen.
But here's my argument to that about the substitutions. Right, you can tell.
I know it's because Hatate was off it, so you're saying you need to bring him off anyway.
I thought you can't. You can argue about who you bring on, but I wouldn't argue who you took off.
Fair. I mean, Stephen, I would like to sort of keep changing the tune, but it's difficult. It's clearly missed chances are a major feature. As you said, it's the story of the season in Europe. Does that just all come down to personal responsibility then? Naturally the manager obviously just takes the flak for results. That's fine. What more does he do to make these players put those chances away?
I think it's in the previous call I said that we're not a Champions League side. I think that's just rubbish. The guys have proven time and time again that they can bury teams when they're on it. But I think and I don't know, Mark played at a high level, in the Champions League. I think it's just down to mentality. For whatever reason, the guys, they have a good 30 minutes, 40 minutes in them, they don't score, and then they seem to get nervous. They start playing, what I like to call Neil Lennon football. They go side to side and then they go back. And they seem to have this unwillingness to try that, audacious pass, and they play safe, and they may ultimately get punished.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, I don't know. I feel like in commentary and we were watching it, you guys felt like Celtic at least were trying to come forward, albeit maybe not doing it effectively.
They stuck to their guns. I thought they did stick to their guns. I thought they went a bit quiet at the start of the second half, and I partly didn't know how Leipzig moved the ball and created chances. And you know what, Stephen's point, I've played in, let's take it away from the Champions League, played for Dundee United and went to Celtic Park and Ibrox. When you do get a couple of chances and you don't take them, you do get a bit anxious. Trust me, you do think it's not going to happen again, and invariably they're going to get their chances and take them. And quite often when you visualise, it happens, because better players will take chances. Now you move that up the scale to where Celtic are now in the Champions League. Maybe you could see that a bit coming, that bit of belief just zaps out the guys in front of goal, not in creating the chances but in taking the chances. It's hard to argue against that, because we've seen, you said, a whole bunch of them, not just one player. You can't just label this at Kyogo or Giakoumakis. It's Abada, it's Jota, it's whoever else, it's in those, O'Reilly tonight, and it's the Celtic's Achilles heel just now. I never thought I'd say that under Postecoglou, just because of what we've seen last season, where when Kyogo was out, Giakoumakis came in, was scoring at ease. If it wasn't him, it was Abada, it was Jota, it was take your pick. But now on this level they're struggling.
I find it very surprising with the chances, I've got to say. I know people go, well, it's a step up, Champions League, and they're not taking their chances, but you don't, as a striker or a winger or wherever you are, in that split instant the ball comes to you, you think, I'm the Champions League here, and you freeze. Kyogo, for instance, right? Everybody will say, if that is a domestic football, he puts it in the back end.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
That's what I'm trying to say. I can't figure out, because Mark was talking about not just Kyogo, other players missing chances and whatever.
It's fair. It's interesting that, Mark, because that sort of logic would probably flat stand if you're talking about you only get 1 or 2 chances at this level. You might get 6 or 7 domestically, and that's where it's harder. But Celtic are getting more than 1 or 2 even at this level.
Yeah,
they are getting a lot. It's not like it's just 1 or 2 and you forgive them for not taking them. But
and you've got to say, we're not talking about efforts from outside the goal here, or half chances. We're talking about real good chances in all the games, and they're struggling. And it started way back that Real Madrid game when Abada went through and goal, and you could see the lack of belief in him there. Now, I'm not suggesting that carries on to anybody else, but they've got to find a solution for it at this level.
Thank you, Stephen. Some interesting thoughts. We appreciate you getting in touch. Good time to get involved, by the way. Maybe you're just leaving the game. I know the traffic will be bad, and it adds to a frustrating night for you Celtic fans, so pick up the phone and let us know what you're thinking.
This is Celtic versus RB Leipzig. The Old Firm in Europe's big league. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Gordon Duncan and Mark Wilson are here. They were just bragging during the break about how quickly the show's gone. They can't believe it's 10:30 already. Do you want to extend it? We go another hour, go till midnight?
Yeah, let's go to 11:05.
Just leave it. I think we'll round it off at 11, just to save some discussion for tomorrow, of course. So 0141 951 1025 with any luck. We'll hear from Ange Postecoglou before the end of the show, but in the meantime, let's speak to Ryan in Annie's Land. How would you sum up the game tonight, Ryan?
Hello. I thought it was pretty poor from Celtic tonight. One performance in particular was Rio Hatate. I thought it was really slow. Coming into the game, I thought just tracking back and stuff like that, I thought he was poor. I don't know why we took off Haksabanovic. I thought he was having a good game, to be honest. And thank God for Cameron Carter-Vickers, because he was brilliant tonight. So that's my point.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, it wasn't a vintage night for Rio Hatate. He got praise for his Real Madrid performance and elements of Shakhtar. So again, we don't necessarily need to jump to that not good enough for the Champions League broad brush, but there were elements of it where the real elite midfielders, it doesn't matter how much pressure they're under, they managed to turn and come away with it. And he tried to be cute a couple of times and keep it and use his body, and he just got robbed. So but it's a learning curve for him as well, isn't it?
It certainly is. Him experience this level of competition. I think the boy is an outstanding player. I think he's shown that in his early Celtic career. And even against some of the big guns, he's shown what a good player he is. Tonight, look, I'll agree with Ryan that there was times that what he usually gets away with domestically, you just don't get away with at this level. But the one thing you've got to give him credit for, he kept trying. He keeps taking the ball in those areas. But the big difference is when you lose the ball in that area of the pitch, it's usually overrun with outstanding players who will just then put you on the back foot right away. And that's what happened tonight with Hatate. Like he'll have better games, and I don't think there's any worry about him ever long term playing at this level, but just wasn't his night tonight.
Yeah, he was poor, let's be honest about it, and rightly so, get substituted. It wasn't his night. He has a good talent. I totally agree with Ryan. Haksabanovic, for me, I said during the show, Gordon, I would have put him to the left hand side. He can play off of there. I'd have kept him on. I think he offers you something. I think he can give you something. I was surprised that he was one of the subs, I've got to say, because you end up with Bernabei coming on and playing that forward, who's a left back, playing one forward with Taylor when you're chasing the game to try and get something. So I think he would have been a better bet to keep on the pitch, but Postecoglou decided to make those substitutions.
Ryan, I don't know what your take on the missed chances is. It's the unavoidable theme. is it individual responsibility? Can it ever really be more than that, or would you like to see something different? Do you think Celtic are getting it wrong?
I think it's just taking our chances. You know, it happened in the Real Madrid game where Maeda, it was put on a plate for him. He should have put it in the back of the net, and it's time after time again in Europe, you know, where we're just missing chances, clear-cut chances where we should be putting away, and that's the difference, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, Mark. Is it, you can't keep, or can you keep only talking about missed chances? Because eventually, you know, that when it's one game, you think, well, it's a bit unlucky, or 2 games, but 4 games in, it's a bit of a theme now.
But I always go back to there's a balance. You know, yes, you need to take your chances, but at worst, can you do better defensively?
Get a 0-0, yeah.
Always you can do better defensively. So you can't just dismiss the chances and the goals that Celtic are giving up, because it's a glaring part of the game. At home especially, if your striker misses chance after chance after chance, at least the team should come off and then have a pop at your strikers for not putting them away. You can't even do that because the team is wide open. Carter Vickers, Ryan's right, Carter Vickers I thought was brilliant today. By the way, Jens I think had a couple of good blocks. O'Reilly at the base of that midfield defensively.
I was going to say, because were you two not up to a point praising Celtic's defence, or was it just a bit better than you thought it was going to be?
I thought Celtic dealt with a lot of pressure, and especially second half up until the goal. Now I'll go back to, we can pick holes, of course you can sit down and watch the video replay time after time, pick holes, defending, going to the ball, closing down. But I thought the first goal with the header was clinical, brilliant. But the second goal, you don't even give the defender a chance to tackle you, and you don't give the goalkeeper a chance to set to try and narrow the angle. He's been that brilliant with the first touch. The second touch kills everybody. So yeah, you can pick holes in the goals, but overall for me, I thought the back four and the goalkeeper, I thought Juranovic just at the end should do a lot better, but I thought the goalkeeper, who's come in for a bit of stick, no chance with any of the goals, I thought he had a good night as well.
Here's the thing though, a minute before they scored their first goal, you made the point, Leipzig come in top, can you see them get a goal? You said no, I said yeah, because I could see the pressure building. Now yes, the defence was good up to a point. How much pressure can a defence hold it for that length of time before they need a hand? Now it doesn't help when people don't follow runners, part and parcel of the game. And if you look at the 2 goals from a wider angle, you quite clearly see that the back four, I think, is Juranovic maybe for the second goal, but your centre halves are still in a good position. As the guys that are coming in, Werner and Forsberg, who run off people and score the goals.
How does that work? I'm asking in all seriousness, because you know, in a layman's assessment of it, you would think Werner is the job of a defender. A Celtic defender should pick up Werner rather than a midfielder. But is there more to it than that?
Yeah. Well, I made the point again as the game wore on. Werner didn't stay as a wide guy. Quite often when Leipzig got the ball, he drifted into an area which is too difficult for a centre half to come out. But midfielders have to be aware. And I think when you see mid guys looking at him, looking at his number, by that time at this level it's too late. And look, we will go on about the chances, because it's right, they are glaring in front of you, but you've got to give yourself a chance then at keeping a clean sheet.
See, if Celtic score them, you're saying they're terrific goals, because it's great striker play. Because what happens is he's there with the centre backs, they all drop deep, he just peels off, Gordon, and he waits for the cross, and it comes perfectly for him. He's still got a bit to do. He's got to direct the header, and he directs the header away.
But I'll agree with you, they were terrific goals. But you as a manager, you would sit down and analyse how do we better manage that situation.
But also, if it was Celtic had scored the 2 goals to midnight mark, we would be standing here going, terrific striker movement, great finish, great first touch.
How do you stop them?
What do you mean?
They are great goals, you're right, I would be praising them, but see when your strikers aren't scoring, you've got to find a way of stopping that.
Thank you to Ryan in Annie's Land. John in the East End, how are you feeling tonight?
Hi Gordon, and Mark, how you doing guys? I heard a guy on earlier, I think his name was Andrew, I think he was on the back of 6, the guy who was going on about how he thought that he wasn't happy that Postecoglou picks Maeda all the time. And I kind of listened and I thought, well, I hope this guy's not right. And he turned out he was spot on. He was so wasteful. He was just kept going backwards. It was like he lacked composure. I don't get it. And then when you guys mentioned it earlier about substitutions, why on earth did they take Haksabanovic off and leave Maeda on? This is what I couldn't get.
Is that a fair criticism, Gordon? Would you have left Haksabanovic on?
100%. I said it. My substitutions right away would have been the front two, Maeda and Kyogo. I'd have put Haksabanovic out to the left, Giakoumakis through there. Look, it might not have worked. Of course, we're all great after a game and looking at the situation, but I couldn't believe. Maeda to me is a manager's dream, working and pressing. But when you're asking him to do something better and create and go forward, get the chances, score the goals, I think he's found wanting at times. And I think the Celtic fans, not them all, but I think there's a majority out there starting to think, you know, he's not as good as what they first thought he was going to be. Now, it may just be a period the lad's going through, because you cannot fault him for his work rate. His work rate is brilliant. But sometimes in a team like Celtic, and the opposition you're playing against, you need more.
I mean, Mark, there possibly was a drop off, but I mean, Haksabanovic had a decent first half, certainly, did they not?
I thought he did. I thought he played quite well. He obviously created that outstanding chance for Kyogo, and I thought he did fine. Now, we don't know what's happening. Was he carrying a knock? I don't know. The manager's not said anything about that yet. But like, it was a strange one for me. Maeda gives you plenty of energy pressing. I do tend to agree with Daz. What Daz's point was earlier, when you're a forward player, for me there has got to be more to your game than the pressing side. I know it's a huge part of the game nowadays, that front press, but when you're a team like Celtic and you get a lot of the ball and you get a lot of chances in that final third to create, you know, clear cut chances, then you've got to have that bit of quality.
Does it also bring it into focus then? If you've got a front three where two of them look clinical, and then he's your worker who's helping you set the tone and press, then it's fine. It all gets forgotten about.
Yeah.
But if you need him to be the clinical one because the other two are off it, then
you're in trouble.
I mean, John, obviously some good things and chances created, but ultimately bottom of the group, 1 point, and really up against it. How do you feel about the bigger picture?
I think the bigger picture, to be honest, Gordon, is the fact that we're just so wasteful in front of goal. The amount of chances that we've had, I think the chances we had against Real Madrid, the chances we had against Shakhtar, we should have been out of sight, especially second half. And then, okay, Leipzig last week, they got let out of jail, and within a matter of minutes or a matter of seconds, they'd scored again, and I think he's just went down at that point, and then obviously the night. And this is what I was saying earlier about Maeda. I'm not just saying Maeda was the worst of the bunch. There was a lot of missed opportunities tonight. A lot of chances that went begging and such. But what was annoying me more so about Maeda was, like I said earlier, it was how wasteful he was. Remember the chance he had when he was out on the wing, and he got the ball and there was nobody in front of him. He could have ran,
sliced cross,
and he just launched it. Into nowhere. And then obviously he had that chance again where he was right in front of goal. We didn't even hit the target. I mean, so I'm not just saying it was all about Maeda. There was a lot of missed chances out there tonight, and there's been a lot of missed chances in all the games. But at the beginning of the season, Celtic were flying. No matter, they just need to look at the goal and the balls were going in the net. Now all of a sudden things are changing. The balls no going in. They're dead wasteful. I think one of the guys said it earlier as well on an earlier call. Just don't get it. Why is it all of a sudden?
Yeah. Somewhere in the north of England, if that's where he still lives, Jack Ross is saying, any chance you could have been this wasteful earlier on in the season?
Yeah, exactly.
Done me a favour. But yeah, thank you, John. Some interesting stuff. Roddy has sent a message in. He agrees. He says the mushrooms talking sense. We don't hear that very often. Maeda very, very poor tonight. So 01419511025. Get your calls in with any luck. We'll hear from Ange Postecoglou next.
This is Celtic versus RB Leipzig. hold firm in Europe's big league. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here into the final part of tonight's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. We will try and hear from Ange Postecoglou. If he speaks in time, we'll bring it to you, but we are going to be up against it before we go at 11 o'clock. What we can certainly do is take more of your calls. John is in the south side. What do you think tonight, John?
Evening panel. I just wanted to offer a bit of a defence or maybe a bit of an insight into the not substituting Maeda, rather than moving Haksabanovic out. In the first leg against Leipzig, their right back tore us apart. It was always a out ball. It was in behind Jota, leaving Taylor, exposed 2-on-1. Maeda going backwards is definitely gives us much more, and for large portions of the game cancelled out their right back. It wasn't an out ball, he wasn't getting the freedom that he did in the first leg. People are obviously criticising them going forward. I totally understand that, but if you look at Maeda's goals over the time he's been at Celtic, he's not a creative winger or an inside forward as such. He is nip in the back post, score a goal at the back post, a deflection, that type of thing. That's been his role since he's been here. I think it's a bit harsh to criticise him when creating chances isn't his natural game. And the way that we played tonight, the way that his role was maybe set up was that he was tasked with
stopping the right back. I mean, has John got a point there, Gordon?
Well, I said that was his. That was the biggest compliment I gave him tonight. I thought, hear the way you look at it. He marked the right back didn't mark him. Now, I totally take on board, and I totally agree with John what he's talking about. He's worked right back and stopping the danger, because I said after 5 minutes, really liked the look of this guy. He played very high up the pitch. Maeda done a terrific job. But you're Celtic, you're at home. You're there, you're an attacking player. You're not a defensive winger. You're an attacking player. So I would like to see him being a bit more forward thinking. I'm sure every Celtic fan would have as well. You can't fault the boy for the work rate he's doing tracking the lad back, but you've got to go and get a result tonight. You've got to be in the front foot. You've got to be positive. When he gets the ball at times, okay, I'm giving him slack for the chance in the first couple of minutes, Gordon. I think that's a difficult. No, but sums it up for me. He gets into a good area in the left hand side. He kicks the ball right out the pitch.
I kind of get where John's coming from, Mark. It goes back to the point we made just before the break. And this is where the big if comes, if your main striker's firing and your right-sided forward is firing, you can be encouraged by what Maeda did, and you can see what John's saying. You can say, well, do you know what, he actually provided a really good function for the team. So even if he wasn't at it, he nullified their threat, and we were able to pick them off elsewhere. But when that bit doesn't happen, then it's a bit harder to be that encouraged by Maeda's role, isn't it?
I think Maeda carried out his role well in the first 45 minutes. I think I can remember times where Leipzig looked to switch the ball and you see Maeda way back in his own half track. Also think he took him the other way a couple of times and getting behind him lacked the quality. Okay, when he get in there, the second half I would argue that he didn't do such a good job in Simikin going back. I think he should actually score. The one he gets in and he cuts in his left hand side, he did well when he tracked him back that once in the corner. But it's an area that Ange Postecoglou seems to give up against anything that he believes. This open expansive football, we're going to get people off their seats, but in a wide area where he can play an attack minded player or a forward thinking player or someone else, he chooses a workman-like player like Maeda, and it is to serve a function, because Simikin was outstanding in the first leg and he was quieter tonight.
I mean, John, I'll be honest, I was sort of nodding along when you're making the case and thought, that's fair, because all we've had is criticism of Maeda, and it's nice to hear the balance, and you built a good case. Then the bit that jumped out though, and I'm paraphrasing, you said something like, he's not a creative player, or he's not a goal scorer. Is that not a bit of a problem for a Celtic winger?
No, I didn't say he wasn't a goal scorer. He's proven that he is a goal scorer.
Well, what was the bit at the end then? He's not a creative player, something like that.
He's not a creative winger. His role is, as I said, it's nipping in at the back post when he plays out on the left hand side or on the right. You know, he's nipped in with goals. He's, you know, the last man on the back post, that type of thing, a deflection, something falls in the box. He's there for us. He's proven that he can do that. But tonight, what we're asking of him is to obviously be more defensive minded and be more tactical aware of his position. And when he then gets a chance, he's, you know, kind of run into space, etc. That's not what he's done over his time at Celtic. So we're asking him to do then something different than that he's used to doing.
Right, but is it too much to ask, John, that when he does get into a good area, he just puts a good cross into the box rather than slice it out the park?
It's no, definitely not too much to ask. I mean, but we're talking about one occasion out of many, you know, over the course of his career at Celtic. You know, we're talking about one cross across, well, not across the box, across the goal line. You know, I don't expect Maida to go and create loads of chances for me. I expect Maida to nip into the back post and score a goal for me. Tonight, the way we played.
But he's not doing either at the moment, though, is he, John? If you look at this season, John, he's not doing either.
But how many opportunities has he had, really, starting out on that left-hand side?
See, I disagree with that. I think if you're a forward and you're playing in this exciting, fast-flowing football at Celtic, get the credit for. You've got to offer something going forward. You just can't turn around and say, well, I chased the full.
Well, John's saying he does. He offers kind of tap-in goals and so on, or gets in at the back post.
Well, tonight he didn't even look like
he's not
he was
done
going
that
to
this
offer
season.
it. I think he's been poor, Gordon. I really do. As I say, fault him for his work rate, absolutely no chance. But I think you've got to give more as a winger and a forward going the other way rather than chase a fullback for 70 minutes and then get a pat in the back.
Right, thank you, John. We wish we could have kept that one going, but as you can hear, we are out of time. It was quite a night in the international front. It did not go to plan. Scotland women's team losing to Republic of Ireland. The World Cup dream is over. A good victory for Dundee United in the Premiership, and the big one in the Champions League. Same again for Celtic. Chances created but didn't take them, and the opposition did. A 2-0 win for Leipzig means Celtic bottom of the group and even face a tough task to finish third. So we'll look back on it further tomorrow. We'll hear from Ange Postecoglou. You'll have had the chance maybe to see some of it back or to gather your thoughts. And of course the small matter of Rangers v Liverpool, a battle of Britain at Ibrox. We cannot wait. Here until 11 o'clock again tomorrow with Marvin Bartley and Cammy Bell. So make sure you join us, and in the meantime, stay right there. Amber's up next.
Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Taggart's Land Rover, part of the Lookers family, one of the largest franchised dealer groups in the UK.